We are moments away from kick-off here in the capital. Manchester City, of course, edging past Leeds United at the weekend, and Fulham with that wonderful display in North London to beat Tottenham by 2-1. It's 2 early goals. Separates City in second and Fulham in 15th. It is a congested Premier League table. Well, Manchester City have won the last 18 meetings between the pair. It is the longest winning streak any English league club has ever recorded over It is Fulham against Manchester City. And it is Manchester City with Phil Foden in possession inside the penalty area. Fulham come away with the ball on the left-hand side with Raul Jimenez, and the ball is just squirmed out of play. It will be a throw-in for Man City, which Ruben Diaz takes instantaneously to Gvardiol. He scored at the weekend. Ball is to be suspended for 5 yellow cards. Referee this evening is Craig Pawson. Man City, with less than 60 seconds played, are dominated possession early on. Have the ball left-hand side now with Gvardiol. Gvardiol rolls his studs over the ball and feeds it 5 yards to his right-hand side. And Ruben Diaz and Nico Gonzalez. Of course, still no Rodri. It's been a rather elongated return for Rodri, and Guardiola was at pains in his press conference to say how much they do still miss the Ballon d'Or winner. Gvardiol goes all the way back to Donnarumma in goal for Manchester City, and Donnarumma goes left-hand side to Gvardiol. Gvardiol rolls his starts over the ball and has the option of Diaz inside. Goes back to Donnarumma once again. 4 seasons, of course, at Paris Saint-Germain. Won Ligue 1 4 times. Champions League winner too. And City with possession through Ruben Diaz. And it is now Reinders with his first touch on the ball, deep inside the Manchester City half, and Reinders shaped to go right, instead just clips it in towards Doku. Doku with a wonderful little pirouette right on the halfway line of 8-1 challenge in 2, and Doku has quite been able to continue that form he showed in that wonderful individual performance against Liverpool a few weeks back. It's now collected by Matheus Nunes, who Guardiola has transformed into a right back. A great time of it at the weekend over Leeds, but keeps his place in an unchanged starting 11 tonight. Gvardiol has the ball right on halfway. Gvardiol now with a little bit more urgency towards Doku. 5 yards in for the touchline. Doku on his right foot. He tried to feed it in towards the run of Reinders. Very nearly fell for Erling Haaland, and the Norwegian frustrated the ball, didn't dribble through to him. Bassi was there eventually to clear. Phil Foden with the touch on the right-hand side now for City. And Pep Guardiola's men have started the game confidently. Phil Foden has scored that brace against Leeds. He's quite found the same goal-scoring form, has he, Phil Foden, since he scored 19 goals in the 23-24 season, but certainly been flickers of late that he's getting back to his best. Opportunity now, potentially for Matheus Nunes, but the ball just dribbles beyond Matheus Nunes and out for a goal kick, which Bernd Leno will take for Fulham, and an opportunity for Fulham to draw breath in the game, really, because it's been all Manchester City so far in the contest. Chance for City tonight to go within 2 points of Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table. Of course, Arsenal play tomorrow night against Brentford, then they're away at Aston Villa at the weekend. Of course, in the London derby against Chelsea. In their own right back slot. Manchester City are really biting into the challenges here, and Reinders retrieving the ball. O'Reilly goes back to Gonzalez. Gonzalez now to Gvardiol. This being played just inside the Fulham half, and Gvardiol does gather once again on his right foot. Gvardiol, little sandwich right hand side now. Best such record any club in English football, and here is Phil Foden, who tries to poke it through towards Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, he's clean through off the post and wide from Erling Haaland, and he's a lick of paint away from scoring his 100th Premier League goal. And the shake of the head from Erling Haaland tells you everything you need to know. He should have seen the net bulge. It was Phil Foden who slid him in. First big chance falls in Man City's favour, and Haaland couldn't take it. 0-0. It was a big old chance that for Erling Haaland. By his imperiously high standards, this is a bit of a goal drought. 3 games without a goal. 1 in the Champions League, 2 in the Premier League. 99 Premier League goals for Erling Haaland. Would of course be the fastest to reach 100 Premier League goals. And Shearer 124 games to achieve the feat. I mean, he's well on track, Erling Haaland, to break Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goal-scoring record, and he stays in England. Looks like it's a formality, really, bar injuries. Pep Guardiola will be absolutely delighted at how his City side has started. Completely dominant in the opening 6.5 minutes, and Gvardiol has the ball. One big chance for City, falling in Haaland's favour. Fed in by Phil Foden. Doku does gather left-hand side, and City again will build from the back. Fulham have barely had a touch in the game so far. And City bring the ball up towards the halfway line, just to the right of centre. Matheus Nunes has the ball and goes by himself on that right flank, and he's got an opportunity now to go back inside towards Bernardo Silva, does just that, and the captain offloads to Nico Gonzalez, and Nico Gonzalez inside to Diaz, and then it is Gvardiol. Gvardiol just checks back on himself inside the centre circle. Diaz and Gvardiol see more of the ball than anyone in the opening 7 minutes or so. Bernardo Silva does gather and just lofts the ball forward now, looking for the run of Tijani Reinders, and Reinders can't quite emerge with it, and Bassi will help it out and play for a throw for City on the right-hand side. And it is all Manchester City at present. A little bit too thick, and Fulham now will come away with it on the right-hand side, and Harry Wilson scampering after the loose ball. He's just outside the Manchester City penalty area, plays it inside, and eventually the ball's just scrambled behind for a corner kick, I think. It was Emile Smith-Rowe who was in there. It's the first glimmer that Fulham have had of goal, and it was Harry Wilson who, of course, scored that cracker against Tottenham on Saturday. He was just outside the area on the right-hand side, fed it infield, and it squirmed in the end off Diaz, and out of play for a corner kick for Fulham on their left-hand side. So Fulham with an opportunity here, and they haven't said that in the game so far. It's going to be Sasha Lukic who will take it. He gives the signal by raising his left arm up. Back in the starting 11 tonight, Sasha Lukic. Raul Jimenez and others lurking inside the penalty area. So corner kick then for Fulham on their left-hand side. It will be Lukic to take it with his right foot. It's cleared though by Man City, and Phil Foden will come away with the ball. He's played it just behind Doku. Doku will just have to trot back 5 yards to retrieve, and Gvardiol takes it on his left foot, and Man City will now build with deliberation once more from the back. Nico Gonzalez into Phil Foden, who's been given licence to roam, and game remains 0-0. Collected now by Tijani Reinders, and Tijani some goal. Manages to ride one challenge, and he's won inside a free kick as Raul Jimenez, and I think the Fulham players will thank him for that, because having seen precious little of the ball in the opening 9.5 minutes, they'll be very grateful indeed that they do have a set-piece opportunity here. And it was Phil Foden who gave the ball away. And it is a free kick for Fulham, bang central. And the Mexican Raul Jimenez was bundled over. Scored 2 Premier League goals this season has Raul Jimenez. 24 goals in 87 games across all competitions for Fulham. Free kick then for Fulham. And a free kick which is going to be helped forwards now towards the edge of the area. Instead, it's given away really cheaply towards Doku, and the referee is going to penalise Doku here because his arm was up against Harry Wilson, and Fulham will be pretty grateful for that one, because the free kick was a poor one from pick up the pieces on the left flank, and that's going to be a free kick, but for the second time in the space of a couple of minutes, Jeremy Doku is penalised, and it is a free kick for Fulham. Collected by Tete on the right-hand side. He scored against Tottenham, scored the opening goal courtesy of a deflection. Wilson goes back infield, and Marco Silva's pleased with that. He just applauds what he's seen from his play. launches the ball up and over halfway, but to nobody in particular, and that should be mopped up now by Matheus Nunes, and is, but only to Alex Iwobi. Bassey now has the ball for Fulham inside their own half. Joachim Andersen goes right-hand side to Tete. Tete just rolls the ball all the way back to Bernd Leno. Bernd Leno to Berger. And Berger tries to go back to Leno, and Leno, rather warmed by the crowd at the onrushing Man City players, lifts it up towards halfway, and Fulham will come once again. And having weathered that 10-minute storm really from Man City, Fulham are easing their way back into the game. Fulham are in possession at the back, and it is Andersen who decides to switch the play and does so beautifully to Iwobi on the left-hand side. Alex Iwobi against Phil Foden. Phil Foden gets a stud in, not too much more. Alex Iwobi trying to go around the outside. Phil Foden is there, but the ball is given straight back to Fulham, and it is Bassey who rolls it out left-hand side now. And Berger does gather once more to Bassey, and Andersen collects. Man City. And Fulham come away with the ball now, and Emil Smith-Rowe. It's Smith-Rowe approaching the edge of the penalty area. Got a Iwobi with him, but Matheus Nunes slides in to good effect, and it's out of play for a throw-in as the rain is coming down in southwest London, and it's clipped forward towards Raul Jimenez, who was sniffing for an opportunity just outside the 6-yard box, but it does just roll harmlessly into the hands of the big Italian Donnarumma. Manchester City building once again from the back. Ruben Dias goes right-hand side to Matheus Nunes, who now collects deep inside the Man City half, and Phil Foden with the touch infield, and Bernardo Silva's dropped a little bit deeper here, and for Matheus Nunes. Haaland's the option inside. It is Erling Haaland to Doku. Doku then to the left-hand side, and O'Reilly. O'Reilly's inside the penalty area, and in the end there were just about enough white shirts there to crowd out the young fullback Nico O'Reilly. And so the 20-year-old saw the ball snatched off his boot and out of play for a throw-in for City on the left-hand side. Nico O'Reilly, a couple of caps for England. 5 goals in all competitions for Man City last season. A throw-in now for Fulham on the right-hand side. Tete will take it, and Tete just gesticulating that he wants one or two of his colleagues in white to just drift a little bit closer to him. Raul Jimenez is the man who's dropped off. He promptly gives it away, and City are back in possession inside the centre circle. And Dias does gather once more. And Gvardiol now wandering forward into the Fulham half, and Mushko Gvardiol offloads to Nico Gonzalez, who spins the ball right-hand side now to Matheus Nunes. And Matheus Nunes with some strapping around that left hand feeds the ball back in field, and Phil Foden first time to Gonzalez, and Nico Gonzalez to Phil Foden. Lovely turn again by Phil Foden. Goes right-hand side now to Matheus Nunes, and Fulham eventually have bodies back there, and Iwobi was one of them. But it's given straight back to City, and Fulham have got to be careful here. It's going to be a long old night if they can see possession so easily. And Diaz goes right-hand side now, and the ball is just lofted in towards the area. Wilson is there with the header away for Fulham, but only as far as Nico Gonzalez. Nico Gonzalez still pocket now for Phil Foden. Phil Foden to O'Reilly. O'Reilly will find Phil Foden again. Phil Foden left-hand side for Doku. Doku has the ball just outside the area, feeds it into the penalty area. It's Erling Haaland with the strike, and Erling Haaland has his 100th Premier League goal. The fastest player ever to achieve the feat. And Manchester City lead at Craven Cottage as they hunt down Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table. It's Fulham 0, City 1. Well, Erling Haaland had an opportunity 10 minutes prior to score his 100th Premier League goal. With that, he struck the post, but there was absolutely no question that he was going to sweep home the second opportunity. And in truth, it's exactly what Man City deserve. They dominated the opening 17 minutes here. It was keep play on the left-hand side between O'Reilly and Phil Foden. Phil Foden to Doku on the left flank. Doku just fizzed the ball into the penalty area. The dummy from Reinders is absolutely sublime. And Erling Haaland just helped it home from right on the penalty spot. By his standards, it's a simple finish. And Erling Haaland gives Manchester City the lead in the rain in southwest London. So City leads, and they deserve their lead as well. Fulham have really struggled in terms of any kind of ball retention. Haaland with that big opportunity before he got his goal. So Erling Haaland reaches 100 goals in 111 Premier League appearances. Alan Shearer took 124. And, well, Erling Haaland's just a goal-scoring machine. Incredible set of statistics. The fact that he hadn't scored for 3 games coming into tonight, and that was deemed worthy of being highlighted in the conversation and the stats pre-match, just goes to show his absurd records at Manchester City. So Fulham have got to come from behind here. Well, they scored a couple of goals inside 6 minutes against Tottenham at the weekend. Tonight is a rather different proposition. They trailed by a goal to nil with just 10 seconds less than 19 on the clock. And from City's perspective from this point, no doubt they'll be looking to turn the screw. Wilson has the ball right-hand side now for Fulham, and he's tried to feed it through towards Smith Rowe, couldn't quite do so, and it's gathered now by Doku deep inside his own half. Doku with the assist for the goal, but really it's a lovely little dummy from Reinders as Doku tries to go down the left flank now for City, and that's out of play for a throw for City midway inside the Fulham half. Well, in fact, they didn't dribble out of play, and Fulham will retrieve the ball through Anderson, and Anderson zips the ball to his left-hand side, and Bassi, there's a little bit of moisture on the surface now. You can see the raindrops just flicking up off the ball as Fulham keep it on the deck. They've won a free kick as well deep inside their own half. It is Fulham 0, Man City 1 if you are just joining us. A goal from Erling Haaland. And it was a very well constructed goal from Manchester City as well down that left-hand side. Phil Foden's been exemplary so far in the game. Assisted in the end by Doku on 17 minutes. And City, very good value for their lead. But how can Fulham respond here? They have the ball on the left-hand side, and Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi in the gloves just drifts it infield towards Sander Berge. Berge, in turn, goes right-hand side for Wilson. Wilson back to Tete, and Tete rolls it back to Anderson. Everyone behind the ball now for Man City, and scooped over the head of, well, very close to being over the head of Mateus Nunes, and in the end it's a lovely touch from Phil Foden to feed it back to centre Erling Haaland, and Bassi's done well to thwart some of that momentum from Erling Haaland, and that takes some doing. And here is Calvin Bassi, who has options left-hand side, one of which is Alex Iwobi. End-to-end stuff at Craven Cottage. It's Alex Iwobi. He's inside the area now, feeds it into the penalty area. There's a comfortable clearance from Guardiola, and City want a free kick. They're not going to get it, I don't think. Well, in fact they are, because Phil Foden is given the decision by the referee, Craig Pawson. And that was half a chance really for Erling Haaland. He had the ball on the left-hand side, flanked by Bassi, and credit to the Fulham centre-backs because nicked the ball off Haaland and then started a counter-attack of Fulham's own. 21.5 minutes play. Fulham 0, City 1. Erling Haaland the difference between the two sides. It is Bernardo Silva who will come forwards from halfway. Mateus Nunes does gather. Mateus Nunes back in field on that right-hand side. And Bernardo Silva just wagged a finger in the air as if to say he wanted a different form of movement in front of him. Bernardo Silva now in field towards Nico Gonzalez. Little triangles from City inside their own half until Bernardo Silva opts to switch the play. He was looking for O'Reilly, but Fulham will emerge in possession through Wilson on the right flank. And Fulham will build from the back once more. Hoisted left-hand side to the run of Sessegnon. Sessegnon tried to squeeze through a couple of Man City players, couldn't quite do so, and Donnarumma is there to gather. And City will no doubt want a second goal here to match the dominance we've seen from them in the game so far. It is Doku who has the ball, and Doku who loses the ball 45 yards from goal. Chance now for Smith Rowe. Has the ball to the left of centre. Emil Smith Rowe finds Alex Iwobi outside the area on the left flank, flanked by Mateus Nunes. Alex Iwobi cuts back inside to Sessegnon, and now Bassi has the ball. All of this to the left of centre. Alex Iwobi once more cleverly done for Smith Rowe inside the area. Emil Smith Rowe, great save, Donnarumma. First chance of the game for Fulham, and it was very neatly worked as well on the left flank. And eventually Emil Smith Rowe inside the area extracted a smart stop indeed from Gianluigi Donnarumma. First chance of the game for Fulham, but it remains Fulham 0, City 1. Well, Fulham worked the ball very cleverly inside the area. Emil Smith Rowe to the 11 today, managed to manufacture a yard of space and drilled his shot to meet the outstretched. Just a little warning sign there really for City, because they dominated the game, but the game is 1-0 and City's lead is not comprehensive. Manchester City host Sunderland at the weekend, then they're away against Real Madrid. What a cracker that'll be on the 10th of December. And they're away at Palace, home against Brentford in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals. Home against West Ham on the 20th, and away at Nottingham Forest on the 27th. 7 games for them in December. Alex Iwobi has the ball. Feeds it back in field now as Fulham look to build once more. Alex Iwobi to Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe just outside the area on the left-hand side. No free kick, says the referee. It's good officiating that by Craig Pawson. And Bernardo Silva brings the ball away. And it is a free kick for Man City. A few yards in from the touchline on the right-hand side. Bassi's not happy, but the decision has been given. So, 25 minutes played. Fulham 0, Man City 1. Erling Haaland on 17 minutes, sweeping right boot just outside the area, left-hand side. Feeds it in field now towards Gvardiol, and he in turn helps it on to Mateus Nunes, and now it is Bernardo Silva on that right flank against Sessegnon. Bernardo Silva inside to Chani Reinders, and Reinders back to Bernardo Silva, and it's keep ball now for City. Into Gonzalez. Nico Gonzalez is looking for the run of Doku and finds him. Jeremy Doku, immaculate first touch, inside the area. Jeremy Doku, round the outside, hangs it up towards Phil Foden. It will be Reinders who actually keeps it in play. And here is now the ball floated in towards Erling Haaland, and it comes off a cluster of bodies, and Erling Haaland the edge of the penalty area. Mateus Nunes in towards Bernardo Silva, back to Mateus Nunes, and it will drop now for Phil Foden, who keeps it alive. Erling Haaland with the touch on inside the area. And Fulham now will try and get the ball away on the right-hand side, but it's a little bit careless from Anderson. And so it's going to be a throw-in for City on that left flank. And O'Reilly to Doku. And Jeremy Doku infield to Nico Gonzalez, and now Gvardiol. And Gvardiol towards Phil Foden, and Bassi will clear. It's back now with Ruben Dias, the Portuguese international, 6th season at City. Collected by Gvardiol once more to Doku. Doku to O'Reilly. O'Reilly and Doku not quite on the same wavelength. And the ball is out of play for a Fulham throw. So Tete now will take the throw for Fulham. Pep Guardiola is pointing to one or two of his players in search of something a little bit different, I think. As the ball is clipped up towards the halfway line, and Wilson with the touch. And it's a little bit of a scrappy 60 seconds or so, but eventually Bassi's headed down, restores a little bit of order to Alex Iwobi. Now Anderson. Tete now has the ball, and it's fed right-hand side to Lukic. O'Reilly nipping in. Marco Silva will retrieve the ball. Given back to O'Reilly. O'Reilly to Bernardo Silva right on the halfway line. And Bernardo Silva sandwiched out by a couple of Fulham players, and Wilson was there. And the ball might squirm loose here for Haaland, but instead Anderson is in there, and Fulham come away with the ball. It is Fulham on that left-hand side, but they've struggled to be particularly impressive in the final third, save for that one chance for Emile Smith-Rowe. It is Bassi who has the ball on the left flank for Fulham, and the ball is rather carelessly out of play. And so Manchester City can have a throw-in now on their right-hand side. And a throw-in which goes back to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva to Donnarumma, and now Gvardiol will gather. Bernardo Silva. It is now Man City very patient and confident at the back. Half an hour played. Fulham 0, City 1. And it is Bernardo Silva who has the ball, or had the ball rather, on that left-hand side. And now it will be Smith-Rowe trying to make things happen for Fulham. Fulham have the ball again, back with Anderson. Anderson inside the centre circle. Tried to go right-hand side to Tete, and eventually Tete beats Doku in the challenge, and the ball is just going to squirm loose to Anderson. Tete once more. Fulham have the ball through Raul Jimenez, first time with his instep back to Bassi, and then Iwobi was there, and Smith-Rowe as well. All this being played in and around the halfway line, and then helped forward very intelligently. Now could be a chance for Fulham. It was Sasha Lukic who did have the ball in a pretty promising position right on the edge of the penalty area. Now Raul Jimenez has it, and Raul Jimenez just outside the penalty area. Wilson is there, and it might drop again for Harry Wilson to the right of centre, just outside the area. Anderson again has the ball in test. It was Lukic with a corner kick, and I think he was looking for Smith Rowe just inside the area, dead centre. Smith Rowe took the ball down, but then rather poked the ball over the crossbar, never troubling Donnarumma. And so it is a goal kick for Man City. Now Man City have the ball on the right-hand side. Scoop long towards Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland in an intriguing tussle with Bassi right at the halfway line. And Haaland is making his case to Craig Pawson, the referee. Bassi is leading him to it. Side to Raul Jimenez just outside the penalty area on his right boot, and he finds Wilson, and it is Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson feeds the ball into a very inviting area. City just about managed to clear, and Phil Foden now will come away with it, and Foden was asking a little bit too much of Doku, and Erling Haaland has gone down in a heap here. Well, 60 seconds prior, Bassi and Haaland did converge, and Haaland was making the point that Bassi might just have drifted beyond the margins of legality, and now Haaland is down clutching his right boot. Bassi is inquiring as to his disposition, and well, only the pair of them will know exactly what went on. Erling Haaland is still down. He's back on his feet now. Erling Haaland is not particularly impressed by what's just gone on. Bassi is offering his condolences, but there's a little pat on the back from Bassi to Haaland, as if to say, shake. Craig Pawson's going to do anything else here. Erling Haaland's goal after 17 minutes. Nothing that Bernd Leno could do about the effort from Haaland. He was right on the penalty spot, left-footed, just sweeps it home to give City the lead for his 100th Premier League goal. So it is Fulham 0, Man City 1. 34.5 minutes played at Craven Cottage, and Haaland is continuing his little chit-chat with the referee. Tete with the throw, just short of the halfway line on the right-hand side for Fulham. And it is now, after City absolutely dominated possession early on, City now 57% possession in the 35 minutes we've played. Poor, and Phil Foden is there, but Matheus Nunes decides to bring the ball out himself, and Phil Foden helps it on to Gvardiol inside the centre circle, and Doku has it once again on the left hand side. Doku promptly gives it away, and Harry Wilson collects, and Smith Rowe with a touch, and Anderson is there. Anderson in towards Sasha Lukic, and Lukic has the ball once again. All of this being played just outside the Fulham penalty area. Now Bassi goes to Iwobi, and Iwobi to Sessegnon, and Sessegnon properly gives it away, and Erling Haaland will pick up the pieces. Erling Haaland now for... He pacified the situation, but it was another half chance really, and it came courtesy of the ingenuity from Tijjani Reinders, because he didn't have too much on, so he just tried to scoop the ball over the top of the Fulham backline. Doku might have been offside in actual fact, but Bassi was there, and eventually went out of play on the left-hand side. So O'Reilly has the ball for Man City. Collected that by Gvardiol. Diaz has the ball inside the centre circle. Erling Haaland with a touch. He just fends off Anderson, feeds it through towards Tijjani Reinders. Tijjani Reinders 2-0. Simple as you like. Erling Haaland goes from goal scorer to provider, flicking the ball through for Tijjani Reinders to finish. And Manchester City double their advantage at Craven Cottage, and they just sliced through the heart of the Fulham backline. It was beautifully done, and Pep Guardiola's men lead by 2-0. Well, it's so simple, really, from Manchester City. It was Haaland who just fed the ball through to Tchani Reinders, who took it in his stride, out of his feet, past Bernd Leno, and it's so easy for Man City in the end. Reinders lifted the ball over the goalkeeper and slotting it home to make it 2-0. It's a lovely goal from Reinders, beautifully cute finish. But Erling Haaland with an assist to his name as well as a goal, and it's all going according to plan for Pep. Hasn't scored for City since the opening day, that 4-0 win against Wolves. Oh, it's so good, isn't it, from Manchester City? And I mean, Fulham had one chance of the game, Emile Smith-Rowe, but aside from that, Man City have been the better team. Really, really sharp tonight. And that interesting four at the back, then you've got Nico Gonzalez just in front of the two centre-backs, then the pretty fluid four in midfield. Certainly Phil Foden's being given licence to roam around, and then Erling Haaland as the focal point. I mean, Marco Silva disappointed, and here come Man City again, and O'Reilly's penalised, and he doesn't feel as though that was a offence worthy of the whistle to be blown. So Fulham 0, Man City 2. No doubt there'll be a fair amount of Arsenal fans watching this. Problem for City tonight, not so as yet. Here is Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe has the ball once again, just outside the area, and Phil Foden will try and come away with it. Alex Iwobi gathers, 35 yards from goal. Alex Iwobi thought about trying his luck, instead tried to feed it through, and Doku loses out, and Wilson was offside and he knew it, so he's left the ball, and O'Reilly scoops it up towards Erling Haaland. Well, that was the intention, but Fulham have the ball again, and it's inside now for Berger, and he goes to the left-hand side and finds Bassi. He struggled to make a case for Fulham scoring a couple of goals in this game based on what we've seen so far. City very controlled in possession, and it is out of play now for a throw-in for Fulham, and Pep Guardiola as it stands 2 points off Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table. Of course, Arsenal play Brentford tomorrow. And when you look at goals scored, I mean, City now have 29 goals to Arsenal's 25, but it's Arsenal's conceded 7 compared to City's conceded 12 that jumps off the page at you when you look at the Premier League table. If what we all want as a neutral is an exciting Premier League title race, then certainly City are playing their part at present, given away very cheaply indeed by Fulham. That has been the case on numerous occasions so far tonight. And Man City have the ball on the right-hand side. Mateus Nunes inside towards Phil Foden, and Phil Foden on his left boot goes left-hand side to Gvardiol. And Gvardiol in turn to Bernardo Silva, and Bernardo Silva goes back in field to Diaz, and it's all very, very comfortable, this, for Man City. Very comfortable indeed. Gvardiol, left flank to O'Reilly, and O'Reilly to Foden, who just pops up on the left-hand side now for Man City. Starting rather nominally on the right is Phil Foden, but when City are in possession, it appears to be a bit of a free roll almost. Here's Erling Haaland inside the centre circle. Does gather on the right flank. And Phil Foden feeds it off to Reinders. Reinders to Doku. Doku to Phil Foden. It's all very neat and tidy, this from Man City. And Erling Haaland is after it now. And Erling Haaland just drops off the top of his head. And eventually it will be Tete who can clear it down the line on the... Erling Haaland has got a wry smile on his face. Fulham 0, Man City 2 is the score. Now Gallagher watching on in the City away end. Still tickets being sold for this game a few hours prior to kick-off. So Fulham 0, Man City 2. Goals from Erling Haaland and Charlie Reinders. And it will be a throw-in for City on the left-hand side, which Reinders is going to take. Well, in fact, it's gone out of play for a corner kick. So Charlie Reinders is going to take the corner. And Reinders now right-footed, takes the corner kick for the left-hand side. Charlie Reinders into a half-decent area. Will drop now to Phil Foden. It's Phil Foden. Phil Foden's hit! Phil Foden's goal! And it is a cracker! Well, he bagged a brace at the weekend against Leeds. And Phil Foden has scored City's third tonight. And it is an absolute beauty. And dare we say it, he is nudging back to his imperious best. It's Fulham 0, City 3. Surely all 3 points wrapped up now. Well, Phil Foden collected the ball outside the penalty area, and he only had one thing on his mind, because in this kind of form, Phil Foden is so dangerous from these kind of situations. Just opens up his body and articulates the ball into the far corner. But Leno's punch away wasn't particularly impressive, but Phil Foden knew exactly what he wanted to do. Left-footed goalkeeper into the back of the net, and City are flying. It's Fulham 0, Man City 3. Cracking goal, Phil Foden. Well, what a first half this is in Pep Guardiola's men. If they drew a little bit of criticism potentially from their performance on the weekend against Leeds, I mean, this has been absolute one-way traffic. And it's a bit of a reminder, really, I think, that Arsenal aren't going to run away with the Premier League title, not if City are in this kind of form. Of course, it is a constant evolution, really. Pep Guardiola repositioning this team, repositioning the squad. Very youthful squad now they've got. They have 3 minutes for Fulham, and well, a goal now would just give them a tiny little bit of traction in this contest, traction that they certainly have not come close to seeing, really, in the contest so far. So 3 goals for Man City, and it's going to be Harry Wilson to take the corner kick, and it's going to be Harry Wilson on the right-hand side, and he will take it left-footed. There's a cluster of bodies inside the area, and Harry Wilson left-footed sweeps it in towards the near post. Phil Foden was there to nudge it away, and helped forward again by Fulham, and Wilson into the penalty area, and there's the effort on goal, and there is a lifeline in stoppage time at the end of the first half for Fulham, and Emil Smith-Rowe's got it, and there could be a chance now for Fulham. They have a little bit of traction that they certainly didn't have before, and it's Fulham 1, City 3. We're sloppy at the back from Man City in terms of how they conceded the corner. That his side have conceded, and Marco Silva will be delighted that his side have got something to grasp onto. So it is Fulham 1, Man City 3. And Fulham now through Wilson have the ball once again. And Raul Jimenez is going to collect, and Raul Jimenez feeds it right hand side to Tete. Now a chance for Sasha Lukic, and Lukic feigns to cross the ball into the area. Collected now by Berger, gathered by Tete on the right hand side, and Tete infield to Bassi, and Bassi helps it left hand side to Iwobi, and Iwobi into the goal scorer Smith Rowe, and Smith Rowe now to Iwobi, and Iwobi helps it in. Only partially cleared. Erling Haaland is there, hoisted away. And it's going to be a throw-in now for Fulham on that left flank. And it is now Tete who does have the ball inside the centre circle. Wilson gathers, Wilson to Tete. Tete back to Wilson. Wilson's assist for the goal. Here come Fulham once again. Final moments of this first half. And it is Tete who collects on the right-hand side, but the whistle does go for half-time. Pretty action-packed opening 45 minutes at Craven Cottage. Plenty to get our teeth into. Erling Haaland opened the scoring on 17 minutes after striking the post prior to that. Then Tijjani Reinders set up by Erling Haaland made it 2 on 37 minutes, and then Phil Foden scored a lovely goal on 44, and at that moment it really did look as though City were cruising in the contest, but in stoppage time at the end of the first half, Emile Smith Rowe scored to make it Fulham 1, Man City 3, and just place a little question mark over the final outcome of this game. You're listening to Premier League Live.
A little bit wide, just a little bit high.
Yeah, it's good play from Murphy. Just looks up, gets the cross in early. I don't think he's offside. Pedro Porro's appealing for offside at the back post. I don't think he was. And Spurs were a little fortunate there that cross wasn't a couple of inches lower, because I think Baltimore was very good in the air and would have scored.
That's 4 goals from his first 5 Premier League games. Nick Baltimore then went 4 without scoring before getting back on the goal sheet with a delicious lob finish, wasn't it, against Everton. As Pedro Porro is caught up pretty much on his own goal line to Romero, and then the ball comes in towards Barnes. Bentancur has to get back and slides it behind for a corner. Well, Newcastle have started with the afterburners on today.
Generally, when you go to Newcastle, every manager that I've ever played for has said, you know, try and keep the crowd quiet for the first 15 minutes. Try and play the game in their half of the pitch. Don't give them any hope and get the crowd into the game. Well, Spurs have done completely the opposite here.
Newcastle have won their last 6 home games in a row in all competitions, and the last was that 2-1 win over Manchester City. Here comes the delivery for Newcastle in the corner. Not the best. Easy for the first man to clear back towards halfway, where it's picked up by Livramento in the centre circle. Kudus comes and closes him down, but Livramento turns it to the right-hand side. Murphy with the awkward left-footed crossing to the box. High-hanging delivery that Byrne nodded down. He did find a teammate briefly, but they couldn't bring it under control. And now Tottenham will try to break at pace. Here's Johnson inside left position up against Livramento. The Welshman comes forward, squares it. Hall's there to turn it away and behind, and they couldn't prevent the corner. In fact, they could. It didn't look like it to me. And then up it goes to Voltemade. He's brought down. Well, I'll tell you what, I think that should be a Tottenham corner.
Yeah, I think it probably should, but the worrying thing is
he's got at the moment after what's been a sensational period for him. 4 in his last 4 in all competitions, and an assist in if you go into the last 5, but he couldn't get onto that one. And now Tottenham come with Udogie inside left to Johnson wide left. Bit of support from Sarr. Bentancur. Udogie in space on the left, he uses him now. Cross comes in, doesn't beat the first man, Livramento. Barnes Tries to give it to Voltemada. Voltemada lays it off back to him. It was loose. Johnson then slides in illegally, and that is a Newcastle free kick. As we see once again the Hall clearance.
That's well off the pitch.
Clearly a hole of the ball over whole of the
well
line.
off the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, before Thiaw. I have to say, Thiaw really just sort of lingered towards it, didn't he? If he'd have gone with some pace, he would have cleared it without us having that debate. In the end, it didn't matter for him. But it was certainly just a jaunt towards the ball rather than a sprint to prevent the corner, which looked the best, I have to say. But that looks the best from him. What a ball that was, through the lines up to Jacob Murphy. Murphy to Livramento, who wants the give and go. Instead,
where they're sat back in, Spurs, and they can't get out.
well, it's an onslaught from Newcastle so far as Barnes tries to get around Pedro Porro, who nonchalantly tries to backheel it away. It's gone straight back to Barnes. Hall joins in the box. Joe Linton finds Voltemada. He tees up Miley. Miley's shot is blocked by Danso. Comes out to Livramento. Livramento into Voltemada in the box. Udogie. Corner Newcastle.
Nick Voltemada there, twice. Beautiful feet in the box. Quick feet to first set an opponent and then set for a shot. Another corner for Newcastle.
Yeah, he's not just got good feet for a big man, has he? He's just got good feet.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tottenham outfielders inside their own 6-yard box here. It is crammed in. Vicario tries to punch, he doesn't get to it, but at the back post, Bentancur finds Kudus, who's tearing away at pace up towards halfway. Tonali couldn't live with him, did well to just stick anywhere near him and force Kudus to check. Tottenham have it back at the back, but Newcastle back in shape.
He did brilliantly there, Tonali, because he just slowed that attack down enough to allow Newcastle to get everyone now back behind the ball.
Romero gives it to Dan. Scored in all but one of the last 11 Premier League meetings. Spurs failed on one occasion, but there have been 46 goals in those last 11. That is an average of more than 4 a game. And this feels like it could be another of those. As Tottenham ready themselves a corner on the far side, their left, which Porro takes towards the near post. It was flicked off the head of Livramento and it'll spin away to the near side, and Tottenham will have a second corner in quick succession.
It's good defending actually from Livramento at the near post. He's that first man just at the near post, and you're looking for him to get contact on the ball when he did get decent enough contact.
Finish that gave Tottenham hope against Fulham in the week, and their response to going 2 down, it has to be at the weekend I should say, wasn't terrible. They just couldn't really find a way through, as Voltemada might find some space. He's up against Romero, defends that brilliantly, does the World Cup winner, and Udogie clears it onto Bergwijn. He's absolutely drilled it in. The Newcastle players and fans want a handball. I think that would have been brutally harsh on Bergwijn. And then across come Tottenham to Kudus, who's juggling but backwards, and he's tackled by Hall. Barnes gets is that you're a much bigger fan of Barnes than you are of Gordon.
I just think he gives you so much more. I think he'll get more goals, he'll get more assists than Anthony Gordon ever will.
Tonali delivers towards the edge of the Tottenham box. That one skims off the head of Romero and he's not cleared it, but Danso manages to wrap a foot away. He ends up losing out there to Murphy. He comes back to Livramento. He passes it through the centre circle to Tonali, and they start again with Lewis Hall on the left-hand side to Newcastle, who have barely relinquished controlled possession, any that Tottenham have had. I don't think there's been a lot of it, as a headed ball into the Tottenham box finds Voltemada, does his very, very best to prevent the goal kick, and he's saying, well, you've got that wrong.
That was tighter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was tighter than the earlier one.
That was tighter than the earlier one that they got wrong.
What about that from a header from Byrne, who got ahead of Danso, and I mean,
it's off, really.
It is clearly off, yeah, but the
so was the other one,
pass drilled like a volley almost with the power. Extraordinary.
It's probably better with his head than he is with his foot.
As again Bentancur loses out. Tottenham just can't keep possession. Barnes this time forces the error. Throw in for Newcastle high on the left.
Newcastle are just swarming all over Tottenham every time Tottenham get the ball. Not letting them get out of their own half, trying to really pile on the pressure.
Newcastle have become a far better attacking force as the season's gone. They've actually scored in their last 7 Premier League games, having failed to score in 3 of their first 6. A Sarr long clearance away from the throw that reached the middle of the 18-yard box, just short of the penalty spot. Livramento comes back to Ramsdale, who won his Premier League full debut for Newcastle last time out. Eddie Howe said, well, look, we can't really judge him because he didn't really have an awful lot to do against Everton, so maybe they'll be thinking, well, we'll find out a bit more today. But certainly distribution-wise, that wasn't the best. He's gone far too long. It's ended up going out of play miles beyond any Newcastle player, and Pedro Porro's taking a throw from, what, 3 or 4 yards away from his own corner flag.
That was almost a rugby kick into touch. You know, the other team get a line out and you try and pin them in.
Good work by Kolo Muani, tight on the right-hand touchline. He's done really well to make up 25 yards there, eventually tackled by Hall just short of the halfway line. Just going silent there because Thomas Frank was delivering some instruction to Pedro Porro right above one of our effects mics along the side of the pitch. I was wondering if we could hear it as Bergvall is caught out by Barnes. He's gone down as if he was fouled, but Barnes has continued his run. No foul. Barnes into the box, a little bit behind the intended target. Came to Miley, edge of the box. Miley's low shot is meat and drink, frankly, for Vicario. A little bit more power, perhaps a bit more height, certainly more in the corner, and that would have caused the Italian goalkeeper some trouble.
That was good from Barnes, wasn't it? Drove at Bentancur, cross across the box. Didn't really sit that, sort of bounced up for Miley, and you're thinking, put your laces through it with a bit of power. Tried to go for placement, and as you said, it wasn't good enough. But Newcastle again win the ball back.
Became the second youngest Newcastle player to score and assist in a Premier League game at the weekend. Normally I like to ask my co-commentators if they can tell me who the youngest was, but you're the sort of man that does the work, and you'll know the answer is Charles Nzogbia.
I did read it. I actually read it.
Yeah. Here's Ramsdale to Burn. Now Hall. Burn restored after his suspension and came back in for Everton at centre-back, having played at left-back for a period prior to that, again for Newcastle.
I think he's more comfortable at centre-back. That's for sure.
I mean, it's just such a lot of body to drag around at left-back, isn't it? Does it with... I mean, he'd do anything for this club, wouldn't he?
Of course he would. I mean, what a move for him at that time in his career, coming from Brighton back home. That's a poor challenge.
Challenge by Udogie that's going to be punished, and probably with a yellow card on Murphy. He released it. The referee, Thomas Bramall.
I'm not sure Thomas Bramall saw it. That's why he can't give a yellow.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's late. It catches him on the toe with his studs up.
Yellow card.
It's a yellow card in the modern game, without a doubt. Just because he comes in with his studs raised.
Yeah. Murphy did release it, and he tried to give an advantage there, didn't he? But quite worked for him. Remember, elsewhere in the Premier League, there are two other games ongoing. Scoreless at half-time between Bournemouth and Everton. Man City are 3-1 up at Fulham. Haaland, Reinders and Foden gave them a 3-0 lead. Emil Smith-Rowe with a little bit of hope for Fulham in stoppage time at the end of the first half. 3-1 Man City lead there. As Newcastle's Tonali delivers the ball into the box, met first by Randall Colomwani, and that runs away for a corner for Newcastle.
Well, it's been an opening 20 minutes of almost entire dominance from Newcastle. Spurs have had a couple of counter-attacks where they have looked a little bit dangerous, but they have been very sparse.
Yeah, probably the only positive for Spurs is that they haven't conceded.
Vicario hasn't really had to save much.
No, the Miley effort
wasn't a difficult save.
So here comes the Barnes corner. Yeah, over here. All apologies that took the corner, but either way, still too big. It was an interesting move, the Hall one from Chelsea. Plenty of money in it, and there was, by all accounts, my understanding is that there was some concern that perhaps they'd got it wrong at one point. He was very, very young, and he's really, really developing. And I think now there's possibly not an awful lot of doubt that he is the long-term left-back for Newcastle.
I agree. Possibly England.
Well, the two sort of incumbents for England at the moment are both of them really central midfielders by trade, aren't they? In O'Reilly and
Lewis Skelly.
Yeah. Whereas he is a left back.
He is. Who has actually played central midfielder in his side as well.
Yes. Yeah, he's done it the other way.
Yeah.
But I think, well, it'd be interesting to see if they give him a chance, won't it?
Well, he had a little look, didn't he? I'm sure he played for England. Let me have a look at my notes. I'm sure he did. He's got 2 caps for England already.
Yes.
So, and then he picked up the injury. So he must be in the thinking. You'd imagine natural left footer, actual left back. There aren't many out there that are English.
Tonali's ball out to the far side is easy for Udogie to check onto. He needs to realise that he's got Murphy behind him. He's actually made up a lot of ground. Now he tries to take on Livramento for pace. Can't do so. Of course, one of the other problems that Hall's got going to the World Cup is Livramento, who's very capable of playing at left back.
both sides.
And we know that Thomas Tuchel values players that play both sides. It's with Livramento at the moment, received it from Miley.
I think the biggest credit we can give to Livramento is he looks comfortable on both sides. He doesn't look like he's playing out of position when he's on the left.
Byrne, ball up towards Joe Linton. He's caught there by Romero.
You watch, he'll get a yellow card, Romero.
Yeah,
because it's him.
And it's no worse than the one from earlier,
it's probably not even as bad. His reputation goes before him, doesn't it?
Already served a yellow card ban as we pass the midway point of the first half. Christian Romero becomes the first name in the referee's notebook. Did you have a similar reputation by any chance?
Not really, no.
Quite the same?
Not quite, no.
I think I always thought of you as a hard man when I used to watch you play.
I could tackle, but I didn't often get suspended.
That's not the same as not being a hard man.
No.
Here's Livramento winning it again in the Tottenham half for Newcastle. Joe Linton steps forward. Bentancur needs to be careful. And the Uruguayan has fouled Joe Linton. That is a free kick for Newcastle.
And that's all it was,
again.
a foul. He just mistimes it. He's trying to just nick the ball away with his right foot and he mistimes it. His studs weren't up. It's not a yellow card.
Uruguayan, who Marcelo Bielsa absolutely loves. He sees him as an absolute all-round midfielder. Probably not been typecast as that when it's come to English football, really. Couldn't think of him a bit more floaty.
He's very much a defensive midfielder here, isn't he?
Yeah. But in the sort of, not the tough tackling type necessarily.
Well, I think he is. I think he is that type of player.
Well, he's certainly failed with that tough tackle there as Tonali gives it to Hall. They're being forced back actually there by a Tottenham press, and Bergvall tried to get it ahead of Livramento, and in the end, what you'd say about Newcastle is generally the final ball has been lacking in the first 24 minutes, generally speaking. The opportunities are there for them, and you've got to say, when you look at the face that's just come on our close-up on our monitor of Eddie Howe, there's real frustration now, which the performance doesn't merit, but that final moment perhaps does.
Well, no, I agree. He's going to be frustrated that they've completely dominated the first 25 minutes of this game, but they've got nothing to show for it as yet.
Not even a real gilt-edged chance.
And not even forcing a really good save out of Vicario.
I mean, Miley's got to make more of that chance.
He needed to make Vicario do more.
Throw in for Spurs down the far side, their left, and Kolo Muani was just waiting for that challenge to come from behind him. It did so, and the free kick has been given, as we can hear details of a goal in the game between Fulham and Manchester City with the commentator David Winter.
And Doku glides inside. Doku's got support on his left-hand side. Haaland through the middle. Comes to Erling Haaland. His first touch was a little bit loose, but Phil Foden wraps it up and scores Man City's fourth. And just as he did at the weekend, Foden has two. And Manchester City are absolutely purring now.
Yeah, so into the second half in that one, and Foden makes it 4-1 to Manchester City.
He's found his scoring boots again, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, look, we're broadcasting to an international audience, so we can't really just keep going on about England. But that is a fascinating thing that Tuchel's got to do with that sort of 10 position, as Hall tries the ball in behind Porro for Barnes, and it's bent beautifully there. Barnes forced wide, though, by Romero, who dangled out a leg to block the cross. Bergvall won't get there ahead of Tonali. Tonali uses Livramento. There's the ball to the back post towards Joe Linton. Porro just does enough to allow that one to drop beyond them. Joe Linton didn't even go for the header. Drops behind for the goal kick.
That one was a good ball. It was just teasing Joe Linton. He thought he was going to get on the end of it, but Porro just got himself between the ball and just slowed Joe Linton down enough to stop him getting onto the end of it.
Scored his first goal for Newcastle against Tottenham, did Joe Linton, and he's now got 4 against them, which is the most he's scored against any opponent in his career. And he came as a striker, all that money all those years ago from Hoffenheim, but pretty much immediately was turned into a central midfielder by Eddie Howe. Has just not looked back.
No. Watched him in Germany when he was playing at Hoffenheim, and he was effective enough, but he's so much better in the middle of the pitch.
He was a handful, wasn't he, without being a massive goal threat. As Danso comes across and clears away over the halfway line. A little header infield by Johnson prevented the throw, but he's given it back to Newcastle. They've come back to Ramsdale. He's given it to Dan Burn. Now Lewis Hall. Kudus was immediately onto Hall there, and he's done well to initially get a couple of touches on the ball. Hall got a bit lucky to emerge with it. He's now waited and checked. Kudus got behind him. You can see Kudus is frustrated that the lock didn't go his way there, because the work was outstanding. In the meantime, Newcastle coming forward with Miley, who's given it Chow far side. He's ventured into the Tottenham half. Chow comes back to Burn in the centre circle. Forward to Joe Linton, laid back off first time to Hall. Barnes gives him it back again. Burn. Chow, who with those 2 goals against Everton at the weekend, he's scored more goals for Newcastle and did in more than 80 appearances for AC Milan already. Barnes finds Joe Linton down the left-hand side. He has a little run at Bentancur. Thought for a second he got by him. The Uruguayan just stuck out a left foot and bobbles it behind for Newcastle's 4th corner of the game.
Patient build-up from Newcastle, probing one side, then the other. Joe Linton tried to show a change of pace to get to the byline and get across him, but good defending from Bentancur. Stuck to his task well.
Miley, with the baby face, comes forward to take. Newcastle left. I'm right in saying this is the first one from this side of the 4. Here comes the delivery. It's very deep to the back post towards Chow, who got up and headed it up rather than back from whence it came. And it's cleared into touch by Bentancur over on the far side. There was a fun interview between Voltemada and Chow post the game against Everton, where Voltemada was saying we've been teasing Malik Chow, saying he can't head a ball. He then went and scored 2 headers. He said, we didn't train on Friday, the weather was so bad, maybe the secret to you learning to head is to stop practicing. I have to say, if that was anything to go by, he probably needs to start again. Newcastle have it on the halfway line, left-hand side with Hall. Hall into the centre circle for Chow, who is really an elegant centre-half. 35 million is beginning to feel like a bargain.
It's a really good price to pay for him.
Down the right they come from Miley. He's tackled there from behind by Sarr. Just got a toe on it, throw in Newcastle. Chance to launch one into the box here for Livramento.
It's finally fulfilling his potential, isn't he, Chow? When he came through at Schalke, they thought he was going to be a real top player.
It was a disastrous team to be in.
You know, it was at that time, at that particular time, yeah.
He ends up going down. He'll end up winning this fight to Bundesliga, but here comes the delivery from the right-hand side for Newcastle. Chiao's there, still not clear, might drop off and burn into the arms of Vicario, it does. He just had too many bodies around him to get a proper contact on it.
This is really good defending at the back post by Destiny Udogie. He just does enough to mean that Chiao doesn't get a perfect header on it.
I mean, when there are set pieces for Newcastle and Burn and Voltemada are in there, nearly 13 feet combined, it's a very worrying thing to have to deal with.
And that's probably one of the reasons why you may be a bit surprised Van der Ven didn't play, because he's of similar stature, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I did wonder though whether they thought that perhaps the pace issue was not going to be such a difficult one today, and this being the one to make the decision, as Joe Linton gets a good ball out to Murphy. Just had to stretch a little bit too much, and then Murphy's cross is deflected, and Vicario wasn't 100% certain it wasn't going to fly into his near post. It's actually gone well wide of it. He really did fling himself off to his right-hand side, but it was Murphy's touch finally, and so that is going to be a goal kick.
He certainly wasn't entirely sure where he was in his goal, or where his goal was at the time. He doesn't fill you with confidence. I don't think as a defender playing in front of him you'd be particularly confident of if your man, someone got past you, that he's going to save it.
Tottenham have survived so far, but that's probably all you would say about them. Again, they lose the first ball and the second, and it runs for Joe Linton in the centre circle. He gives it to Barnes, who stabs it to Hall and is then brought down. Hall then tackled by Kudus. Kudus trying to get away. Tonali gets back at him. He just wanted it more there, Tonali. He turns it back to Ramsdale and blew away to our right, and he uses Burn, who waits for Colin Mwani, gives it back to Ramsdale, and they move it right this time to Chow.
It's fantastic, wasn't it, from Tonali? Little turn of pace, got himself in front of Kudus, just tied it up any danger.
Barnes coming forward, turns inside his man. It just took a little touch off of Kudus, who's then on the ground when it comes passed back to him needlessly by Bentancur. And here's Joe Linton to Livramento. Murphy tries to cross, blocked by Udogie. Catching practice that for Vicario. He just bounces it down to Bichol because he was stood basically on the goal line. He didn't want to risk that one falling out of his hands for a corner. And he battered it down and collected at the second attempt. Low ball away from Tottenham, and Randall Colomwani can't just bring that under his spell. He had to make up a lot of ground just to get there first. He's lost out to Joe Linton.
He was out muscled by Burn.
Now here's room for Joe Linton to come forward. He finds Voltemade just short of the D. He tries to play it through Romero. It hits Romero's legs as it goes through. Runs for Tottenham, and Pedro Porro with a chance to clear. He can only do so by putting it into touch.
Tottenham have offered virtually nothing going forward. A couple of breaks in the first 5-10 minutes, but nothing since.
Tonali. It's been a really pulsating encounter, eminently watchable. 34 on the clock. Yes, there are no goals, but that does not mean that this has not been an enjoyable encounter so far. It's the Premier League, it's always enjoyable. Here's Barnes to Tonali. Chow. Miley. One more for Livramento. What a ball that is to the right side of the box, and Joe Linton hits the post! Crossed the keeper brilliantly. Hall picks up. Hall to Barnes, left side of the box. He delivers it into Voltemade. They're queuing up at the back post. Somehow Danso got in ahead of Murphy, and that's the closest we've come. Joe Linton, who I mentioned earlier, has got a fabulous record against Tottenham, showing striker's instincts there. His finish was oh so close across the keeper. He beat Bentancur to it. Narrow angle. Did Vicario get the most minute of touches with his foot to push that onto the post? It might have been an unbelievable save.
It might have been so close for Newcastle to take the lead. The width of a post. You feel it's coming, don't you, just before half-time.
I'd have to see that again to just determine whether there was the slightest of touches to make the save.
My first thoughts when I first saw the shot, he didn't get anywhere near it, but no. That slightly tighter angle showed that he might have.
It was the merest of nicks if he did, as he passes this ball out to Sarr. Tottenham can't carry on like this. They are living a charmed life. They're booming that one forward up towards Johnson. Bergval's found Johnson again. I thought he was going to shoot. I don't know why he didn't. Here's Kudus in the box. Kudus tries to shoot. Hits the back of Tonali. Bounces out to Bentancur. Porro. For once the Tottenham fans are up. Kudus again. Thought about the cross. Takes on Hall. Gets by him. Low ball into Bergval, who flicks it from behind over the bar. Not by much. And Bergval's frustrated. He thinks he should have done more. It was oh so close to a brilliant Tottenham goal, but it's a goal kick and it remains 0-0. Ramsdale was beaten.
He's incredibly unlucky here. Lovely ball across from Kudus. Bergval runs past it and just flicks it with his back foot, his right foot. trying to just back flick it into the net, and it literally clips the top of the crossbar. Ramsdale was beaten.
As Newcastle go long towards Murphy, just a bit too long, and it runs on through to Vicario. Well, there's that Tottenham threat that is just there, bubbling under the surface. As Vicario again takes probably one more touch than you'd really like if you're of a Spurs persuasion, but it does come to Johnson just through a bit of endeavour there to be there ahead of Livramento. He's given it to Sarr. Now here's Udogie. Udogie back to Sarr. And here comes Kolo Muani now into the D. Manages to find Kudus in the box. It's a better spell for Spurs. Kudus, it's the second time he's done that in the last few moments. Just tries to shoot through someone. But perhaps just waiting for a runner might have been better. He's got it back though. Bentancur. Kudus tight to the touchline. Joe Linton chasing down. Bentancur to Porro. Porro to Kudus. There was space for Johnson that he was pointing into in the box, but it would have been a difficult slide rule pass through several black and white players.
Well, this is a really important period of the game for Spurs, just to have
some respite.
Absolutely, some possession and just get a touch of the ball and not have to defend.
Romero. Porro, they're back on halfway, Tottenham. Porro just chips it back to Vicario, who's on the edge of his 18-yard box. Voltemada tiptoeing towards him, gives it to Romero. Just waited for Voltemada to come close. Kudus tackled by Hall. That's not the first time we've said that today. But a tackle by Romero from behind Voltemada, and it comes for Bergvall. Turns away from Tonali. There's a little bit of space for him to attack as well. Over the halfway line he goes. This is really powerful running by young Bergvall. Gives it to Kudus on the edge of the 18-yard box, right-hand side. Kudus waits. Gives it to Porro. Kudus again, a bit more space on the right. Hall closes him down. Left foot cross comes in. Burn heads out to the far side. Livramento beats Udogie to it. And he's so calm as Livramento. Waits for Udogie, who's actually tackled him really well. Livramento on his backside and out of position. And they come forward with Kolo Muani attacking the box. Kolo Muani tees up Bergvall. First touch is awful. Just come away from him. He didn't really keep his eye on it, I think. And Newcastle's clearance won't stick with Voltemada either. Romero now, dribbling his way forward. Johnson central position. Right-hand side for Kudus. Barely time to breathe. Kudus is crossed to the back post. There's Kolo Muani. It was just a shade beyond him, and he heads it further away from goal, and he goes behind for the goal kick.
Good period of pressure from Tottenham. They needed that in the game just to get themselves back into it. Just feel that a couple of crosses come in from Kudus, and they were just sort of hopeful crosses rather than just picking someone out, and they don't really have, you know, that target in the middle of the area when he looks up and looks to put a cross in.
Here's the angle of the shot by Joe Linton. I think there is the tiniest of divergences of trajectory there when it goes past Vicario's boot. I think he's saved it. Although you shook your head when that went by, you're not as convinced.
I'm not convinced, but it didn't go in. That's the key thing.
You're right. Yeah. Burn to the right for Livramento, bang on halfway. 5 minutes to go, plus stoppage time at the end of this first half. Manchester City and Fulham is a right old ding-dong. It's now 5-2 to Manchester City. Sander Berge made it 5-1. Alex Iwobi has got another back. So Haaland, Reinders, Foden for 3-0, Smith Rowe for 3-1, then Foden again for 4-1, Berger own goal for 5-1, Iwobi for 5-2. Tottenham would take that sort of away result tonight, I think. Sure, it's going to be quite that high scoring.
Well, I got one stat that I wrote down.
Don't say it. I know what you're going to say.
I never thought I'd have to say it.
I know what you're going to say.
I've been trying not to say it.
Are you going to say this is the 61st Premier League game between these two and there's never been a 0-0?
Yeah, you said it, not me.
It's the most played Premier League fixture without a 0-0.
It's 81 league meetings.
Yeah.
81
league
meetings.
1971, I think. Yeah, I spotted the same thing.
Surely not tonight.
It doesn't feel like it. As Kudus attacks down the right-hand side. Tried to find a little gap that wouldn't come for him, but he somehow emerged with the ball anyway, with Joe Linton and Hall on him. Sarr invited to join in. Pape Matar Sarr gives it to Kudus inside the area, just on the right-hand side. Here's Porro with time. Just waited, gives it to Sarr. That's a terrible ball in, but it actually came to Bergvall. He's just sort of flicked it on, it hit Burn, and his clearance will drop to Sarr. Oh, that's a poor pass by Sarr. It was just a little bit of pressure on him, but he sort of half volleyed it out towards Porro, 3 yards ahead of him, and it's a throw-in for Newcastle when there was so much pressure on for Tottenham.
Yeah, it was a beautiful first touch from Sarr, but just gave it away sloppily.
He's a lovely player to watch, isn't he, Lucas Bergvall, at times?
You can really see, you see glimpses of pure class in there, that you just know that he's going to get better and better.
He's a really silky player at times. Goal in him. Still very, very young.
I think it suits him playing in this more advanced role, this number 10 role.
Romero goes high to meet the line of Newcastle's attack. He got a toe in it, but Hall has it again on the left. To the left side of the centre circle for Miley. He rolls it across that centre circle to Chow to join in. Livramento first time down the line for Murphy. He expected Livramento to have gone on the underlap. He didn't do so, and it's Tottenham's ball. Although Danso might have played himself into trouble there, former Augsburg man. It was away by Udogie in the end when it bounced back at him. One bounce, out of play it goes, throw into Newcastle. 2 minutes plus stoppage time. Newcastle 0, Tottenham 0 in this first half at St James's Park. Livramento to take. Waits for black and white shirt to become available to him. Joe Linton is that man. So close to opening the scoring a few moments ago, Joe Linton. Chow. Livramento. Joe Linton again had to stretch slightly to control it in the centre, but then turned, gives it to Burn, and he passes it up to halfway on this left-hand side for Hall. Kudus showing sort of work rate. Perhaps some West Ham fans would have liked to see more from him last season.
I think he generally works hard.
He is doing his defensive diligence today. That's a lovely ball over the top down the right-hand side, and Miley coming forward. He'll try and tee up. Barnes, shot deflected wide. Well wide. Corner Newcastle.
Well, it looked initially as though it might have hit Baltimore, who was in front of Barnes. He gets the ball out of his feet, hits it with his left foot. Might have come off of Romero and then onto Baltimore. I think he was given offside anyway.
He was given offside, yeah. Baltimore was certainly interfering with play in that period. Guillermo Vicario is now having a chat with the referee and saying, twice I've had contact, I don't know who with. Or is he pointing to the fans?
I'm not sure.
The goal?
I think
he's unhappy with something.
I think he's pointing to the fans. By the way, he was pointing behind him.
Let's see, the referee, Thomas Bramall, is coming over to the near side and he wants to have a conversation.
But it's not with the fourth official, this is with something to do with the stadium.
We'll just see if we can hear any announcement here. He keeps on pointing to his foot and holding up 2 fingers. The number 2, not anything rude. And yeah, they have gone to a stadium official who is now saying something down a communication device. And the Newcastle fans aren't enjoying that. We're near enough a minute into the minute of stoppage time, but this stoppage started well before the end of the 45 minutes, so we've got at the very least a minute left for play at the end of this first half. Vicario booms it one away. Header on by Sarr, won't drop for Kolomwani. Comes out to the near side, Hall brings it down beautifully. Baltimore in the centre circle. Turns, Danso at his back, he slips, somehow still has it. Danso does get a tackle in, and now here's Kudus who's got the ball down the right-hand side into Bergvall, who tries a little clever flick back into his path, ends up with two black and white shirts around him, and Byrne and Hall emerge with it. Hall then tries to find a gap that was just opening up towards Murphy, but he didn't get it right at all, and Sarr emerges with it. And round the corner by Johnson, that's a poor pass to Livramento, and Livramento will release Murphy, who's into the 18-yard box. His cross hits Danso blocks and bounces back onto Sarr. Sarr clears that one away, and it's going to run all the way through to Aaron Ramsdale, and I suspect that's the end of the first half. Well, boos around the stadium. I'm not 100% sure what that's for, because Newcastle have given their best. They've been very close to going into the lead through Joe Linton's effort, which hit the post, potentially, we still don't know. Well, maybe we'll never know, via a little touch from Guillermo Vicario. Lucas Bergvall's gone the closest for Tottenham with a flick that went over the crossbar. Newcastle have been the better by a long, long chalk, but Spurs are still in it. Half-time at St James's Park. Newcastle 0, Spurs 0 on Premier League Live.
TalkSport Podcast League. Outspoken, the best of White and Jordan.
Now available in one unmissable daily podcast.
He's going to be in charge for a considerable period of time.
It's a load of old pony.
The final word on the final scores with Jim Mighty White.
I really mean this for sincerity.
And Simon the Saint Jordan.
What on earth have you got?
I think I look like the Saint. I think it's a Simon Temple outlook. I expected to hear the
Outspoken. Out now.
Listen or download for free from your favourite podcast portal.
Kick it! TalkSport Superstar Breakfast.
You wake up late for work, man, you don't want to go. Because Brazil and Paula haven't finished their show. Pump up the volume and make lots of noise.
You're listening to the Breakfast Beastie Boys. You gotta fight for your rights to follow.
The original ill communication from the breakfast party animals. Alan Al Rock Brazil and Ray Party Paula on the TalkSport Superstar Breakfast every Friday morning from 6.
Whoa, yeah.
The TalkSport app. Yeah, it's the TalkSport app. Swipe left for TalkSport 2.
Und get in-depth interviews, the latest team news und all the sporting best bits.
Swipe right for TalkSport.
Mit unmissable Kick-by-Kick commentary of over 500 games of wunderbar live football across the season. Ah, das ist gut.
Give your phone
the finger.
The TalkSport app.
Zwei Finger, zwei invented.
What are you waiting for? Download it from your App Store. TalkSport Drive.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
TalkSport Drive with me, Darren Bent.
And me, Andy Goldstein.
Sports radio that's guaranteed to go the distance.
Move up through the gears with all the day's sports.
Daily football debates, plus a bootload of banter.
Watch the lights. Release the clutch. Drive!
TalkSport Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
The fastest football on the way home.
That's going to come back to haunt me, that one, isn't it?
It's another day of box office football here on TalkSport. So let's have a quick rundown of today's blockbusting lineup. In midfield, it's Anthony Flash Gordon.
Get heroic coverage of every epic clash.
Morgan Buck Rogers.
On the radio station that knows, with great power comes great responsibility.
And Martin Oda, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, these are the nights when heroes are made, where history will be written.
Also, Kyle Skywalker.
Magnificent counter-attack.
And Tyrone Mings the Merciless.
Supporters assemble. Captain's goal.
TalkSport.
Biddy.
It is 0-0 between Newcastle and Tottenham. A game of blood, a game of thunder. Maybe just lacking in too many opportunities to open the scoring, though. But we have still come close. Barnes into the box, a little bit behind the intended target. Came to Miley, edge of the box. Miley's low shot is meat and drink, frankly, for Vicario. A little bit more power, perhaps a bit more height, certainly more in the corner, and that would have caused the Italian goalkeeper some trouble.
That was good from Barnes, wasn't it? Drove a Bentancur cross across the box. Didn't really sit that, sort of bounced up for Miley, and you're thinking put your laces through it with a bit of power.
What a ball that is to the right side of the box, and Joe Linton hits the post. the keeper brilliantly. Hall picks up. Hall to Barnes, left side of the box. He delivers it into Baltimore. They're queuing up at the back post. Somehow Danso got in ahead of Murphy, and that's the closest we've come. Joe Linton.
So close for Newcastle to take the lead. The width of a post. You feel it's coming, don't you, just before half-time.
Kudus again. Thought about the cross, takes on Hall, gets by him. Low ball into Bergvall, who flicks it from behind over the bar. Not by much. And Bergvall's frustrated. He thinks he should have done more. It was oh so close to a brilliant Tottenham goal, but it's a goal kick, and it remains 0-0. Ramsdale was beaten.
Trying to just back flick it into the net, and it literally clips the top of the crossbar. Ramsdale was beaten.
So it is 0-0 at the break between Newcastle and Tottenham. There is a mad old game going on at Craven Cottage, it has to be said. The last time we were there, Manchester City were 5-2 up. Is the comeback on? You just wonder. Here's David Windsor.
The burger didn't distribute quickly, and that frustrated the home fans. And it's gathered now by Castagna. Castagna's cross into the area, and it will drop pretty nicely indeed. And there's Fulham's third, and I wonder. Well, stranger things have happened in the Premier League. We still got 20 minutes left to play, and it's Fulham 3, Man City 5. And Chukwueze off the bench and onto the score sheet to give Fulham more hope. Well, once again, Manchester City pretty sloppy at the back, really. He's onside, is Castagna on the right flank. He helps the ball into the area. Bernardo Silva couldn't clear properly, and Chukwueze comes onto the ball, smashes it past Donnarumma, and it's Fulham 3, Man City 5, and there's still a chunk of football to be played.
So 5-3, Manchester City leading Fulham, but Fulham seem to be building. You never ever know. There has also been the opening goal of the game between Bournemouth and Everton with 10 minutes to play there. Everton have the lead. We're going to hear that goal in a few moments' time as well. Chris Perry alongside me, Toby Gillis, though, watching Newcastle against Tottenham. You and I have just been sort of talking off air, and I was going, you know, Newcastle surely win this. Our producer agrees. You're not quite so convinced.
I just think they've had so much of the ball in the first half, so much possession, and they haven't made enough of it. And often in games like that, where you dominate in the first half and you don't take your chances, the other team got the other end and score like they almost did with Bergvall. And I think Tottenham will go in at half-time in a lot better frame of mind than Newcastle will.
But Newcastle have battered them.
They've battered them, but
they're not
really
battering them.
They're not exactly. They're in the game.
Yeah. They are certainly in the game. I mean, you're not happy with your performance if you're Tottenham, are you? Or is this just one of those away performances where it is a difficult place to go, you expect to be under pressure, and actually they've restricted Newcastle to probably two pretty decent chances. Joe Linton does well to get close, really, from such a narrow angle. Hold that thought, Chris. We're going to go back to Fulham against Manchester City. A 9th goal of the game. Which way's it gone, David Windsor?
It's going to be Harry Wilson to swing in the corner, left-footed. Donnarumma got a boot on it, falls nicely, and it falls perfectly. And Fulham have 4, and Chukwueze has 2, and this game takes another improbable twist. Astonishing scenes at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 4, Man City 5. Well, we still have 13 minutes left to play. Pep Guardiola looks absolutely horrified at what he's seeing. Marco Silva is elated, and what an introduction. Chukwueze scoring his second. Man City well and truly rattled. And the most improbable of outcomes is still possible here tonight. Well, Donnarumma got a hand on it. Chukwueze's effort, no question, I don't think, of anyone being in the view of Donnarumma, who saw it late. Chukwueze's got a couple of goals, and it's Fulham 4, Man City 5. It's an incredible game of Premier League football.
Yeah, that really is mad. It's a lot less mad at Bournemouth, but it might be a really good result for Everton. Your commentator for this one, Tom Clayton.
Alcaraz gives it out to Jack Grealish, got two defenders in front of him. Grealish tries to go for it with the right foot, and it's deflected, and it's in the back of the net. Jack Grealish has broken the deadlock, and Everton take the lead at the Vitality. It's a deflection off Diakite. It was on target, the shot from Jack Grealish. He stumbled as he took it. Completely wrong for the goalkeeper. Goes into the bottom corner. And Everton are in a winning position here in Bournemouth. Something they've never done in the Premier League.
Yeah, that'll be a really, really good result for Everton if they can go away to Bournemouth and win by a goal to nil. So 1-0 to Everton there. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5 is the latest score. We've just been double checking what we all believe here in the press box, that there's only ever been one 5-5 in Premier League history. That, Chris, was Sir Alex Ferguson's last game, wasn't it, against West Brom? An extraordinary match for him. Fulham, could they? I mean, sometimes you just get momentum at the end of a game, don't you?
You certainly do, and what you do know is that Manchester City aren't secure defensively, and once that momentum starts, it's so difficult to turn it round.
There is 5 minutes of that game remaining. The point I was just making before we went to that goal, just very, very briefly, Chris, was, you're probably not that happy with if you're Tottenham about your performance, or, as I started saying, is this just a difficult place to go, and actually they've done okay?
It's a very difficult place to go. The fans are up. Tottenham, I think, we're really pleased to go in at 0-0.
Yeah. Well, we wait to see whether Thomas Frank thinks the same and might be tempted into any changes. Ditto Newcastle. The benches for both teams are strong. Attacking-wise, Newcastle have got the likes of Gordon and Elanga on the substitutes bench. They might also fancy Jacob Ramsey, and Bruno Guimaraes, of course, is another option as well to try and add maybe a bit more control, a bit more cuteness in midfield. Tottenham with the likes of Javi Simons, if they're a bit concerned defensively. Joao Palhinha is an option. Richarlison's there, Mathis Tell as well, and Wilson Odobert. We'll find out in a few moments' time whether the coaches have thought any more on that on Premier League Live.
Previously on White and Jordan.
The Championship gets an old geezer swinging a rattle. It's all about packaging and imagery and stardust, and the Championship and the EPL wants to be looked like the runt of the litter.
More meat, less waffle.
The opportunities are huge.
White and Jordan.
Join the Binary Broadcast Blowout weekday mornings from 10
on the world-famous TalkSport.
In the year 2000, TalkSport established an elite breakfast show for the top 1% of former professional footballers. Alan Brazil is the original Maverick.
Flaps up for the football. Turbocharged twin-engine breakfast radio with Alan Callsign, Roll Out the Barrel Brazil.
Turn and burn, baby. And Ray Party 7 Palmer.
Wow, can you keep this thing the right way up? My beer's going everywhere.
The all-action TalkSport Superstar Breakfast with Alan Maverick Brazil.
I've been flying through the danger zone for 20 years.
And his wingman, me, Ray Party Parlour.
Every Friday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
I feel the need for speed.
TalkSport Drive.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
TalkSport Drive with me, Darren Bent.
And me, Andy Goldstein.
All-terrain sports radio for a power-hungry nation.
The national radio show with a bootload of sport.
Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport and Andy Goldstein.
Mirror, signal, move over for TalkSport Drive.
With Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
The fastest football on the way home. Get updates on the teams and squads, plus all the latest betting odds. All it takes is just one tap. Kill boredom dead with the TalkSport app.
The TalkSport app. Hear, watch and scroll unbeatable content from the world's biggest sports radio station. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Available from the App Store now. Terms and conditions apply.
Week in the Tackle with Tom Ruddy and Brian Dunseth is a weekly podcast where we tackle the top stories from the world of football.
We'll be talking about the Premier League, Champions League, Major League Soccer, and of course, look ahead to the World Cup.
A full year of hype followed by an ignominious group stage exit. Just hook it to my veins.
Rennie, you talking about the United States or England?
Good point, well made, likely both.
A Week in the Tackle is available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode.
Reasons to like TalkSport. 1, 2, 3. A bit of Simon Jordan. The hottest news from F1. The latest transfer deals done. Hawks B.
Rallies with the swinging 70s end.
Tony Cascarino. A trip to the casino. A pint of cappuccino. Alan Brazil.
Just brilliant.
Adrian Durham. Come here if you want some. We'll bloom and take you all on. TalkSport's got skills.
Don't be a blockhead. Listen to TalkSport on DAB Digital Radio 1089 and 10:53 AM on the app and on your smart speaker.
TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Newcastle against Tottenham from St James's Park. I'm your host, Toby Gillis. Chris Perry, formerly of Tottenham, alongside me. This is Premier League Live. And I mentioned just before the break that one or other of the coaches might be thinking about making some sort of change. And it is Eddie Howe who has blinked first. And he has brought on his captain, Bruno Guimaraes, for Sandro Tonali. It is Lewis Miley who gets us underway for this second half, going immediately back to his goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. Newcastle shooting from left to right in this second period in black and white striped shirts, black shorts, black socks. Pedro Porro has just walloped the ball into his own face. Chris Perry's gone. I'm not far from it. That was a sensational clearance by Pedro Porro. Randall Colomboani is down now. Let's just very quickly give you the 11s while we've still got some semblance of normality. Aaron Ramsdale, the Newcastle keeper. Back for Livramento, Thiaw, Byrne and Hall. It was Byrne, by the way, that went through the back of Colomboani and hurt him on the head. It's Miley, now Guimaraes and Joe Linton in midfield. Murphy, Barnes either side of Voltemada. Tottenham, as they were in the first half, Vicario, Porro, Romero, Danso, Doggy. And then it's sort of a 4-4-2 at times, wasn't it, really? With Kudus, Bentancur, Sarr and Johnson. And then Bergvall high up with Colomboani as Newcastle go long again, looking for Livramento. That one's overhit, that one's a goal kick. And Colomboani is still off the field, having a little joke with one of the assistants on the far side.
Must have been 30 seconds by now, surely.
Very least. He is back on and he's okay. So 0-0. What do you think the thinking there was behind Guimaraes on for Tonali?
I can only imagine that it's an injury for Tonali, because I thought he was excellent in the first half. You'd imagine that they would have taken Miley off, I think, if they wanted to really change the game and play with their three best midfielders.
Vicario clears the ball away for Tottenham out towards Kudus. He's beaten in the air into that one by Hall, and now Barnes goes, and he's easily away from his man. Barnes into the area. Vicario with a save, it's up into the sky. Voltemada heads towards goal, off the line by Danso. Newcastle so close to the opener there. First Vicario, then Danso preventing it. Livramento on the right. Livramento into the middle for Murphy. Him on his left foot, low shot. He's going well wide, but Vicario just drops onto it. And Danso thanks the Almighty for putting him in the right place at the right time there, because Newcastle tore through Tottenham like a hot knife through butter, and it was so close to the opener on two occasions. First for Barnes, then for Voltemada.
Yeah, brilliant save by Vicario at the near post from Harvey Barnes as he went past a couple of players. And then, like all good central defenders should, once the goalkeeper's on the floor, you get back on your goal line. Voltemada thinks he scored, he heads it towards what he thinks is an empty net. But back on the goal line is Kevin Danso, and he clears it away. So close for Newcastle.
Is it beginning to feel like one of those nights for Newcastle? Tottenham don't tend to keep clean sheets. We know that neither of these two teams can tend to keep clean sheets in this fixture. But Spurs have kept just 4 this season in the league. 3 of those, though, came in their first 4 matches. Newcastle have kept 4 Premier League clean sheets, but none in the last 6. Surely there are goals. Bergvall. First touch wasn't the best. He slides it down the right-hand side. Easy for Byrne to be the first man to it. Gives it to Joe Linton. Newcastle come forward again. Header away is by Danso. Joe Linton underneath it, header away again, this time by Romero. Bentancur looked like he might have played himself into trouble there. He's emerged with it, backpedaling on the edge of his own box, gives it to Udogie, who just feels like a really different player nowadays from the one that first signed under Ange Postecoglou to me. He was that flying sensation, wasn't he, initially? It's just a little bit less of that from him nowadays. He's defending against Murphy. Murphy plays it up to Guimaraes, met by Bentancur, so he comes back for Miley. Thiaw, Livramento, is he onside? Cross comes in towards Voltemade at the back post, it's beyond him. Barnes picks up, takes out towards the corner flag. Porro goes with him, comes back down the line for Hall. Hall into Bruno Guimaraes, and Tottenham have forced Newcastle back really well to halfway there.
Still got possession though, Newcastle.
Miley bypasses Bergvall to Guimaraes. He then has to move away to the right-hand side for Livramento. Crossing opportunity for Guimaraes to the back post. Headed away by Porro ahead of Barnes. Picked up by Kudus. Hall is tight to him. Kudus with time to turn inside his own area. Then tries a little bit of trickery edge of the box. Risky. Paid off. Gave it to Romero. Romero now moves it left for Udogie. Udogie does come forward. Johnson down the line for him. He's been nigh on anonymous as Brennan Johnson in this game, bar that early cross from which Tottenham should have had a corner when Lewis Hall cleared it, but it wasn't given to them. Danso, Colomwani, defensive edge of the centre circle, tackled quickly by Byrne. Newcastle come forward again. Barnes tackled by Randall Colomwani, no foul, and Tottenham come away. Here is Johnson through the centre circle, out to the right-hand side for Kudus. Hall went to meet him, then thought better of it. Kudus takes his time, gives it to Johnson, who's joined him on the right wing. 6 minutes gone in this second half. 0-0, Tottenham with their first spell of sustained possession. Sarr comes back to his keeper.
I mean, it's so compelling, isn't it? The game's a really good game, but you're just waiting for someone to take a chance. Going back to your Udogie point, I think the hamstring injury has just slowed him down and meant that I don't think he trusts himself to go and be that same swashbuckling back he was when he came in.
He's giving it away here, and Murphy's found Voltemade, but he is tackled in the box, and Tottenham bring it away, and then a flip down the corner by Johnson, and that just about sums up his night, straight out of play. And then complaining to a teammate, saying, "Where were you?" Well, didn't expect that. Sarr goes in a little bit late there on Bruno Guimaraes, and it's got the feel of a game that could go one way or the other. It could turn nasty, or it could turn into a goal fest, and it's perhaps unlikely to be both. Sarr there, deserving, you would think, of a yellow card.
It's not. He more or less just runs into the back of Bruno. He certainly doesn't catch him with any studs or anything like that. It's a foul, and that's all it is.
Deep in stoppage time in the other two games in the Premier League this evening. Everton 1-0 up at Bournemouth. Man City 5-4 up at Fulham, having been both 3-0, 4-1 and 5-2 up. Crazy. Just absolutely bonkers. In fact, 5-1 at one point. So here comes the free kick. In it goes by Miley. That's an easy one for Danso to head away. Back in it goes by Hall towards the edge of the area. Joe Linton tries to bring it down, can't do so. Comes back to Guimaraes. He's tackled there by Udogie. Headed backwards by Joe Linton. And Hall picks up and spreads it to Murphy, who's got a bit of space on the right. Quickly closed down by Porro. The cross isn't the best, and it's an easy clearance for Sarr into touch on the near side, and Murphy takes the throw quickly to Livramento.
It's all Newcastle pressure.
Miley. Murphy turns away from Johnson, hands up the cross into the middle, nobody went for it. Hall back in, deflected off of the man at the near post. That was Porro. Behind it goes Newcastle corner.
Beautiful little dinked cross to the back post by Jacob Murphy, and you're expecting Voltemade to rise, and he just doesn't. And it goes over the top of him. Coming into the back post is Lewis Hall, and Pedro Porro just pulls his hands behind his back and puts it behind for a corner.
Newcastle have the corner from the far side. Here's the delivery, in it goes. A good header away by Danso. Back in by Murphy. It's a scramble, and it's over the bar by Bergvall.
That was a scuffed effort, wasn't it? It was forced clear by Danso. Murphy's effort was scuffed onto the floor, and it came out, and it looked as though it was going to be Harvey Barnes was going to turn it in, but Bergvall just got there before him.
Here's the corner again. Pretty much everyone lurking in the 6-yard box. 7 Newcastle players, 9 Tottenham players, including the keeper, who has to punch that corner over the bar.
He did well there. He did really well, Vicario. Wasn't really under any pressure, but decided not to catch it and just helped it over the crossbar.
Bruno Guimaraes will take another from the same side.
It's the other side, I think it should be the other side.
Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes just smacks it with the sort of accuracy you'd expect from me rather than Bruno Guimaraes into the crowd. But fortunately, we got the multi-ball sense, and Miley will take the corner this time from the near side. This will be an outswinger from Miley. Here's the delivery. Header away is by Danso, who's been immense, by the way, at times in this game. And then Tottenham can break here. Porro finds Randall Colomwani inside right channel. Yellow shirts flooding forward for Tottenham. Colomwani bundles past Hall, but not past Joe Linton.
Straight from Joe Linton.
Tackled by Bergvall, though, brilliantly. Bentancur, he didn't realise Bergvall that he was going to get the ball back. And then Newcastle trying to bring it away. There's a foul on Hall and free kick Newcastle.
Well, yellow card for Bentancur. I think just a totting up process for him. It's his 3rd foul, I think.
Just for a moment, you wondered whether Colomwani was going to go all the way there.
Well, he walked past Hall, didn't he, as though he wasn't there. But then that's what Joe Linton's so good at. He's so strong, and when he gets his body in between you and the ball, he's so hard to get off it.
Not going to PSG 1 year later for €100 million. And interestingly, you know, in the sort of cycle of strikers around Frankfurt, of which there are so many, all sorts of talk that they're going to raid Newcastle in January. William Asula.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
Mentions in Germany that deal's actually done now, although Asula is injured at the moment. So it could be a little link between those two in future, potentially. They know how to sign a striker to the Germans. That specific German side, Frankfurt, when you think about some of the players that they've had. And yeah, well, Ekitike, Marmouche, Aller, Jovic, who went to Real Madrid, Andre Silva, who had a wonderful season before going on to perhaps not quite recreate the football. In fact, so many of them leave there and don't. What a pass that is by Porro through 2 Newcastle shirts to Bergvall. Kudus now on the right-hand side. Gets it back to Porro. There's the cross. There's absolutely nobody at the back post. And it just bobbles behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, the problem for Porro was when he looked up as the ball was getting played back to him, Brennan Johnson was at the back post, but he would have been offside when the ball came in, so he ran back towards his own goal to try and get onside and was nowhere near it when the cross came in.
Tottenham just having a slightly better spell, without saying by any means they're in control. Sarr onto Colomwani, comes to Johnson, edge of the D, takes a deflection away. That's a throw into Tottenham. I think the Newcastle defenders wanted a flag to be raised there. Not gone for them.
That's going to be a Danso long throw.
Well, with the might he's shown in the air recently, you might want him attacking this, but if he's your best long throw specialist, I'm going to go with that option. Danso winding up for Tottenham. 0-0, 13.5 minutes of this second half gone. Bentancur lurks, Romero lurks, goes into the near post, Burn rises, Burn gets the second contact too, heads to the near side, Bentancur Livramento in close quarters. Newcastle players shout that touched off of Bentancur. The officials disagree. Danso with another chance to launch one into the box. It'd be against the run of this match entirely if Tottenham took the lead.
It really would.
Sarr's in there, Bentancur's in there, Romero's in there again. Here comes the delivery towards the near side. Doesn't quite have the power, Danso, to get that flat trajectory. He wanted another one there, but Livramento was always going to get there before it went out of play, and Tottenham pass it backwards before coming forwards again. Porro out to the right for Kudus. Got Hall behind him, holds him off. Porro once more into the centre circle for Udogie. Voltemade comes to close him down, so quickly moves it left for Sarr. He's got space to move into inside left. Gives it to Johnson, left side. He whips in a really dangerous looking cross, but nobody beats Dan Burn in the air. He heads it to the near side. Livramento comes away. Turns inside Danso. He'd do better to just get back, I think, as Joe Linton steps through the centre of midfield. He's tackled by Kudus, and Porro bursts forward. Porro into the channel for Randall Colomboani. Burns marshalled him, and he's been excellent today, Dan Burn.
You know, this is ideal for him. You know, those crosses coming into the box, the throw-ins coming into the box. He is so powerful in the air.
He'll be going to the World Cup, make no mistake about that. Still just the 5 caps. It's been an awful lot more squads than that. Here's Sarr. Bentancur, 10 yards inside the Newcastle half. I've got a wall of 5 in front of them. Miley initially comes to meet them. Now it's Murphy's turn. Tottenham being forced back into their own half, and they use Romero. Romero to Porro. Barnes in close quarters. Finds Bentancur, back heel to Porro again. Now Bentancur again, the volleyed pass is straight at Joe Linton. He's going to get it back for the Brazilian. Bentancur waits.
Newcastle
back to Porro.
Just looking a little bit tired this last 5 minutes or so.
A huge amount of football. 6 more games for them in all competitions before the turn of the year. They find Udogie, who's onside. I questioned it myself there for a moment. Sarr, Bentancur towards the edge, and Bergvall, but no space for him to turn, so he comes back to Porro. Now maybe Bergvall, can he get the cross in? It bobbles off his shins. He somehow tries to keep it in and get the cross in. It's away by Newcastle, but only as far as Bentancur, and it's the Tottenham fans you can hear roaring their team on at the moment. Away to our left, high up. It's a ridiculous climb to the away end at Newcastle, if you've never been. It's a workout in itself. Udogie goes on the underlap from Johnson and gets it, takes it to the byline, tries the cross. That comes off of Miley. Corner to Tottenham. Much better for the last 5 minutes.
They have. Newcastle have kind of sat off. Looks like Newcastle are going to make a couple of changes.
Yeah, certainly for a moment it looked like it was 2 with Elanga, but he's just put his bid back on. Gordon,
I think it will be Elanga and Gordon. I think they will come on, but not while they're defending a corner.
Porro jogs to the near side to take it.
You'd think it'd be Murphy and Barnes coming off.
Yeah, straight swaps you would have thought. Comes the corner deep to the back post. Ooh, just for a second I thought it was going to drop to Colomboani. Comes off of Hall last. Another corner, this time the far side.
Showed good strength there, Lewis Hall, because Bergvall was trying to stop him heading this, and he shows good strength just to get his head on it and flick it away from Colomboani at the back post.
Kudus to take the in-swinger from the Tottenham left, the Tottenham right with his left foot. So many bodies, it is a maelstrom in there. Here's the delivery to the near post this time, just above Sarr. Going to come out to Porro, who volleys it against his opposite number, Murphy. Comes to Kudus, awkward, he's just about controlled it and kept it in, both from preventing a goal kick and a throw. And now he'll attack Hall. Deliver it on his left foot. Keeper comes, keeper claims. Just about at the second attempt, and then he bowls it out down the middle for Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes bends it around Porro perfectly to Murphy. Murphy. Murphy into the box. This would be sensational. Porro stuck to his task brilliantly and blocked the shot. What a pass that was from Bruno Guimaraes.
Well, it's brilliant football all round. Ramsey does well to take the cross, then bowls it out to Guimaraes. Beautiful pass, defence-splitting pass.
Entire team-splitting pass. They try again, up to Voltemada, he makes his way into the box, doesn't take the ball with him, Romero clears. Gives it to Romero, gives it to Bentancur, who's tackled by Guimaraes. Over on the left-hand side now, Bruno Guimaraes. Needs an option, Joe Linton goes left, instead he comes central to Miley. Miley to Livramento. Livramento bends it to the back post. Porro heads it behind corner.
Well, I think it hit Porro. I don't think he wanted to head it, but it hit him.
This is an insane pass from Guimaraes, isn't it?
It's very good defending from Porro, though. Shows Murphy outside, times his challenge brilliantly.
The weight of the ball was absolute perfection. I should tell you, by the way, that we do have full times at Fulham and Bournemouth as Newcastle's corner comes in and the keeper punches through a crowd, comes out to Livramento, cleared off the line again by Johnson. Back in it goes by Newcastle. Kolo Muani will chest it down, bring it away, and is fouled by Miley. I'm not totally sure that this one needed clearing off the line. It might have been that Vicario had it covered, but you just don't take the risk. When it came back in there by Miley, Johnson was there.
Yeah, Johnson didn't know. He wasn't aware of exactly where Vicario was. It would have been interesting, actually, because he was diving across his goal there, Vicario.
And here come the changes. Barnes off, Gordon on. Anthony Elanga on, Jacob Murphy off. Elanga, who, by his manager's reckoning, has spent time on the bench watching and learning what he needs to do to be a Newcastle player in this team, and said that he was rewarded with his best performance in a Newcastle shirt so far against Everton. And his first goal involvement for them in the Premier League anyway.
Well, they're two players who have got incredible pace, can carry the ball, real attacking threat, not what you want to see if you're Udogie and Porro, that's for sure.
Well, they're at the back, Newcastle at the moment. Bruno Guimaraes passes it out to Joe Linton. Gets on his bike behind Kudus and then moves it left for Gordon. Joe Linton tackled fairly right in front of the referee. Kudus gives it to Bergvall, needs to recognise what's around him, has given it straight to Elanga. Elanga's got Hall outside of him, right hand side, but he's normally all left footed. Hung the cross up well. Vicario has been excellent today, to be fair to him. And he's bowled out quickly to Bergvall. Bergvall is being chased by Gordon. Over the halfway line he goes. Randall Kolo Muani up against Byrne. Gordon's back with him, finds Bergvall in the box. Kolo Muani nearly took it off him. Bergvall into the middle, there's nobody gambling.
What was Johnson doing at the back post? Back on his heels. Just needed to gamble into the box and he's got to tap in.
This game is not ending 0-0. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Gordon now. It is end to end. And it's scintillating. Gordon attacking Porro. Gordon crosses towards Voltemada. Udogie didn't know what was around him. There was nobody around him. If he'd had a call, he'd have been all right. Instead, he heads it behind for the corner.
Yeah, Vicario's got to see that quicker. I think he does call him, but it's too late. He's got to make sure that Udogie is aware that he doesn't need to head this.
If it is 0-0, it's one of the best 0-0s. And as with any game that's 0-0 with just over 20 minutes left to play, the jeopardy is vast. Miley's corner, in it goes, just taken away from Joe Linton. Back in it goes for Spurs. Is Voltemada offside? Well, the flag will be delayed until now. There we go. And breathe. We're in for a big finish, and there's still just under a quarter of the game to go. What an extraordinary game they've had at Craven Cottage. 9 goals. This, I bet you this hasn't been less entertaining. I'm loving it.
It's been a really good game.
Away it goes by Vicario. Header by Byrne. Danso will be there ahead of Voltemada.
Good decision.
Hooks it back over his shoulder. Just bounces over Johnson. I'm amazed Johnson's still on the pitch. There's the man on shout for Bruno Guimaraes, doesn't help him. Gives it away. Here's Sarr now. Releases before Miley gets to him. Here goes Brennan Johnson, and the offside flag is up, and he's so frustrated. Look, he hasn't had a lot of service, to be fair to him, but he's just gone missing in this game, and Richarlison is stripped and readied, and you bet your bottom dollar it's going to be Johnson that comes off. Surely it's not a straight swap for Kolo Muani, is it?
It could be. I think they'll make a couple of Spurs. Looked like maybe Xavi Simons was getting his stuff on as well and getting ready to come on.
I mean, the last couple of games, the PSG and the Fulham, he went that sort of 4-2-2-2 as Gordon just takes on Porro in a foot race and beats him, and Bentancur into the box. It goes for Voltemada, laid off,
what a
shot,
finish.
bottom corner, Bruno Guimaraes, the super sub, captain fantastic, Newcastle 1, Tottenham 0. You cannot say they don't deserve it, and it's a wonderful finish, low past the goalkeeper who had absolutely no chance.
Well, this is a moment of pure brilliance. You spoke 5 minutes ago about just how accurate and how brilliant his pass was. This is as good a finish, because as this play is building up down the left-hand side with Gordon running into the box, he's not expecting this to come out to him. Gordon's pace, he outpaces Porro and just fires it across the box. There's a half a clearance at the near post by Danso, and then he bends it. He opens himself up, comes onto it on his right foot, opens his body up, and he side foots it just inside the far right-hand post. It's an absolutely magnificent finish.
It's arrowed, dead straight, and he did. It was not an easy one to come onto, was it? It was not easy. He had to almost run round it to open his body up and finish it off. World class from Bruno Guimaraes. Absolutely sensational from a sensational player.
Oh, it's an unbelievable finish.
Lift off for Newcastle, who are attacking again with Voltemada down the right. Tackled by Sarr, tries to play it round Danso, who gets there ahead of Elanga. And it was all created really by the blistering pace of Gordon, and whether you like him more or Barnes more, the one thing he definitely has more than Barnes,
he's quicker than Barnes.
Pace.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I don't disagree.
Talking of pace, here's Johnson. Can he get the cross in? He can. Nice take by Kolo Muani initially, but Thiaw was there.
Good defending by Thiaw.
Bounce, bobble back to the goalkeeper.
It's Kolo Muani wants a penalty, but Thiaw just used his body and got himself between Kolo Muani and the ball. He did really well and just shielded it. It's not a foul.
Newcastle start again with Livramento. I told you it wouldn't be 0-0.
Can't believe it's taken this long. I mean, it's been a game where both sides have looked to attack whenever they can.
Bruno Guimaraes, Gordon, heavy touch, and similarly by Sarr as he tried to play it forward to Kolo Muani, and Newcastle have it back. There's very little luck going Tottenham's way at the moment, is there? Even the tackle there in the build-up to the goal, you know, yeah, Voltemada was strong and he was there, but you know, that touch could have potentially got away from Bruno. He's ended up burying it brilliantly. Reliably informed that Kolo Muani is the intended substitute for Richarlison. And that Mathis Tell is being planned to come on as well. That will be for Johnson. And possibly Xavi Simons for Lucas Bergvall. Might be a triple change for Frank. Destiny Udogie gives it to Johnson, who clears, but Byrne gets onto it first. It's going to come out to Bruno Guimaraes. Guimaraes to the right for Livramento, thought about the cross, instead gives it to Elanga. He does cross it, hits the back of Destiny Udogie and spins for a corner.
Well, they're up for this now, aren't they? The crowd are really behind Spurs. Have got 3 players waiting to come on, but they're just delaying this substitution till after they defend the corner.
Here comes the delivery by Miley. Keeper comes, keeper punches.
This place is rocking, isn't it, at the moment?
They know that this season is certainly not lost yet. Hall, Gordon, up against Udogie on the far side. Cuts in onto his right foot. I think that was intended as a shot. Head to Voltemade. Oh, it's a poor clearance! Came out to Miley. His left foot shot is low. It didn't have the power, and Vicario drops onto it.
Yeah, block shot initially. Comes out to Miley, tries to pass it into the far corner with his left foot. Decent placement, but not the power to beat Vicario, who dives to his right low and goes full stretch.
It's with Ramsdale at the back for Newcastle, who, by my reckoning, hasn't had a save to make again.
He hasn't. Tottenham haven't had a shot on target, I don't think, yet.
They haven't had a shot in the second half at all.
Their XG in the last 4 Premier League games has been below 1.
Yes, it has.
I think they're second to Wolves, I think, for the lowest XG in the league this season.
And only Wolves and Burnley have had fewer shots on goal than them in the season. What's kept them up is their shot conversion rate, which is the best in the league at nearly 17%, 2% higher than anyone else. But you've got to have those shots. As they deliver a ball into the box there, it took a deflection and bounce from Miley. Colomboani comes and picks his pocket. Into the box he goes, bursting through. Colomboani! Oh, just for a second I thought he was going to get through. But he ran into Joe Linton, who just anywhere would have done, and he's put it behind for the goal, for the corner.
He just nicked it off of Miley, and then he just ran at pace between 4 defenders, and you think he's going to get in, but there's Joe Linton. What he's doing there in front of Ramsdale, I don't know, but he just kicks it behind to concede a corner.
Here come the changes before the corner's taken. Johnson off, Tell on. Colomboani, that is his last impact on this game. He is off. And Richarlison is on for him. And it is Lucas Bergwall, as we thought, for Xavi Simons. What a time it would be for him to start making an impact for Tottenham. Yet to score. Here's the Kudus delivery. In it goes to the near post. Voltemade underneath it. It was always going to be Voltemade or Byrne, wasn't it? Comes back to Kudus from Sarr. Tries to cross again. Voltemade again. Clears as far as halfway.
It's very handy in both boxes, isn't he?
And he's the first man to come and meet it as well, although it passed away from him. Here's Xavi Simons to Mathis Tell. 2 players who have come from big clubs in Germany to try and make an impact on Spurs. 2 players who you might argue have yet to do so. Destiny Udogie finds a touch to Richarlison. He lays it off to Simons. Here's Tell. Tight to the left touchline with 3 black and white shirts around him. He moves backwards and to the right and then squares it to Porro, who's invited to step forward. Bypasses Gordon and gives it to Kudus. Kudus is balling!
What a header!
Brilliant header! Sensational equaliser from Christian Romero! Oh, that is wonderful! And the 2 captains have scored! And that is a bullet header from the Argentine. Newcastle 1, Tottenham 1.
Well, he stayed up, didn't he, from the corner. He never went back. Just hung around in the box thinking this hasn't been cleared yet. Ball gets played out to the right-hand side. Kudus cuts back onto his left foot, bends it low towards the near post, and what Romero does, he's just off the back of Dan Burn, and he just nicks in front of him as Dan Burn's back on his heels. He doesn't realise he's there, and he just gets across the front of him, diving header, low, down to the left-hand side of Ramsdale, who can't react in time. What a header from Romero.
Well, if there's one thing Dan Burn can't head away, it's one around his knees.
Ones. Yeah, exactly.
And Romero stooped fastest. And now Tottenham, despite all the pressure they've been under, are back on level terms.
Well, this is up for grabs now. It's anyone's game.
Newcastle will be sick as parrots if they don't win this match. But yet again, we're in a game where both teams have scored in this fixture. Almost every time. And once again, the clean sheet waits continue for these two. Newcastle looking to win 7 in a row for the first time in over 15 years at home. Bruno Guimaraes has it, plays it up to Gordon. Gordon gives it to Voltemada. Voltemada out to the near side, and Elanga is inside the box. Elanga low ball in. And it was pretty easy in the end for Porro to get there ahead of Voltemada on the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball needed to touch on the near side. Into the final 10. One apiece, Chris Perry.
The game's there for someone to go and win, and you really feel that both these sides are desperate to do that.
Look, I mean, they started with exactly the same record, didn't they? Only goals scored separating them in the league. You'd expect it to be even. It hasn't really been even. Tottenham with one shot on target. Newcastle have been the better side as Livermento's cross finds Voltemada. Shot comes in from Hall. That's blocked by Kudus, and that'll be a corner to Newcastle.
It's been an enthralling game. As you say, one of the best 0-0s it could have been. We've got the goals now. Are we going to see a winner?
The corner will be from the far side, the Newcastle left. It will be an in-swinger from Bruno Guimaraes. His deliveries have been dangerous so far. One you'll remember had to be tipped over by Vicario, but he's been picture perfect from these set pieces. You've got to say, under huge pressure today. He's made the right calls, he's come when he can, he's always got contact on them so far.
Yeah.
9 to play plus stoppage time. Delivery comes in again.
Well, Dan Burn's been rugby tackled to the floor there by Bentancur.
And it ended up getting a flick on and going out of play.
I mean, it's nothing short of a rugby tackle.
He's not watching the ball, but he perhaps quite cleverly, Bentancur, puts his head underneath Dan Burn's armpit, and I wonder whether that just makes it look like he's the one being pushed down.
Foul, potentially,
but you're right,
yeah.
he's got his arm around. Maybe in the end it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But you've got to say that the first contact with Bentancur, and he was not watching the ball. It was just anything to stop Burn jumping.
Well, they're looking at it.
I don't think they are. I think they're waiting for the substitute. No, they are.
They are looking
checking the penalty.
I don't think it's a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty because of it looks like Dan, but he definitely drags him to the ground, and he's the one who initiates it there. He's got a hold of him now.
Yeah, and the fact that he's not had any interest in the ball.
When that's flicked on, Dan Burn heads that in. You look where that ball gets flicked to now. Dan Burn's there, heading it in.
Might well be.
But I'll be surprised if they give this, because I think it's...
Newcastle going to get a penalty.
Well,
referee's going to have a look.
I'm not sure. I think this is very much 50-50, this one. But the fact that the referee's been sent over there almost makes the decision up, doesn't it? It's a brave referee that doesn't give it when he's asked to go over and look at it.
Well, the VAR is Paul Tierney, very experienced official. Tom Bramall, one of the newer refs, but you know they are PGMOL trying, importantly, to stick with referees' calls where they can.
But the referee can't see that.
I'm not sure that the referee's got it wrong enough that it's a clear and obvious error.
I don't think he can see that.
And he's telling the players to move away, and we're going to hear what Thomas Bramall's got to say.
Well, he's speaking to Christian Romero, which suggests that it's going to be a penalty.
After review, Tottenham, number 30, makes a holding offence at the back post, clearly does not look at the ball. My final decision is penalty kick.
And I think that's the point I've been making.
The key, is not looking at the ball.
Yeah. No intention to play the ball.
If he's facing the other way and looking at the ball and grabbing him, I think he gets away with it. But I think it's a harsh decision, that one. I think they're both wrestling. What a moment for Anthony Gordon, who has been short of a goal for so long. What a moment.
Well, he was the last man to miss a penalty for Newcastle in the Premier League. Of course, last season it was Isak that scored them so frequently. But he's got a couple of goals from the spot so far this season.
Well,
in the Champions League.
Richarlison's come and tried to scuff the penalty spot up. Spurs and Danso's doing the same. It's poor. It's really poor from Spurs.
Only one of Anthony Gordon's last 8 goals have been in the Premier League. He hasn't scored a league goal since the 15th of January. It might be one where he passes it to Voltemada, is it? No, Voltemada's walked off. Bruno Guimaraes is talking to him. Vicario's well outside his 6-yard box. He's going to do that thing where the goal suddenly looks a little bit smaller when you walk away, but Gordon's not watching it.
He scored 4 of his last 5 penalties, so...
And they've gone either side.
What a moment, as this could be the winner with 5 minutes left in normal play.
No league goal since January for Anthony Gordon of Newcastle. From 12 yards against Vicario. Whistle blows. Gordon takes 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, steps up and fires it to the keeper's left, who dives right and gives Newcastle the lead once more with 4 minutes plus stoppage time to play. Newcastle won both league encounters last season with Tottenham by 2 goals to 1. Are they going to do it again? Because that's the scoreline late on at St James's.
Yeah, great credit to Anthony Gordon. He must have been so aware of how long it's been since he scored that goal, or even had an assist in the Premier League. And with 5 minutes left in this game, a huge moment for him to step up, and he makes no mistake. It's a really good penalty to Vicario's left-hand side. Vicario dives to his right, just lifts it into the net. Newcastle fans jump up in joy behind the goal at the Gallagher end.
It's tough on Bentancur, but if you don't make any attempt to play the ball, then you give the officials a decision to make.
Well, it's the fact that he's not even looking at the ball, he's just looking at the man.
Yeah, you can block, but you can't hold.
No.
And Anthony Gordon billows into the crowd. And Tottenham have made a change in the aftermath and brought on Gray has come on, yeah. So Archie Gray on. Matar Sarr is off. They're going to get a throw in. Pretty much straight from the kickoff again. Did I see Wilson Odobert?
I thought I saw Wilson Odobert on too, yeah. Maybe for Kudus.
Here comes the delivery to the near post. Richarlison goes down with a player in his back. I don't think he's going to get that. Here's Xavi Simons towards the back post. Oh, Doggy's getting round the back. He just couldn't get there first. And Richarlison's saying, excuse me, can you please have a look at the push from behind? Well, let's see.
No, absolutely not.
Embarrassing, Richarlison. It's a booking.
They should look at that.
It's a booking. Odobert is on for Kudus.
Yeah.
That is shocking from Richarlison. Yes, there was a hand on your back, but you were not pushed. And by the time the contact finished, you were still standing up, and then you fell forwards. And he has been booked.
He got booked for that, did he?
Rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Desperation, I understand. But don't shame yourself like that. As Newcastle look to get in behind through Elanga, and Danso looks like he's pulled him down. No foul, says the referee.
Well,
he was going through there.
Danso certainly didn't play the ball. There's no doubt about that.
On Bruno Guimaraes in the midfield. This has been a game you cannot take your eyes off. And there's no way that Elanga is getting caught by Danso once he's gone.
I think the only thing that saves Danso is he's never going to get onto the ball, is he?
Maybe it gets to Vicario first. Doesn't mean it's not a foul, but it just might not be a dog zone.
No.
We're in the final minute of the 90. The free kick is to the left of the centre circle. And I think everyone involved in this one needs a stiff drink after this. Free kick taken quickly. Tottenham had switched off. Gordon's delivery towards Voltemada. Richarlison gets onto it. Oh, that was poor from Udogie. It just ran down his body, really. Miley picks up, takes it to the corner flag. And why not? And then it runs out of play. And no foul. I think he was hopeful as he went down that he's going to get a decision. Not going to happen. Udogie will take the throw down by his own corner flag on the left back position.
We're all waiting here just how long the fourth official's going to add on.
Well, we're going to find out in 3 seconds' time. Richarlison manages to nod it down to Tell. Comes off with Livramento. Tell continues his run down the left for Seaman's challenge. Comes
9
in by
minutes.
Joe Linton. 9. That is not what Newcastle fans will have wanted. And Romero is running forward to go and be a makeshift centre forward.
He's gone centre forward, hasn't he? We've already seen how good he can be in the penalty area.
Look, what I would say about this is Tottenham have fought, they've battled, and they've fought for the shirt.
They've been outplayed, haven't they?
But they've had one shot on target. How are you expecting to get points out of a game with one shot on target?
This is the whole thing, isn't it, at the moment? Their XG is so low, they're not creating enough chances to score.
Danso to Tell. Tell can't find a teammate in the box. Clearance by Livramento. Voltemada's got a Tottenham player at his back. Bruno Guimaraes is tackled. Voltemada's tackled. Somehow Tottenham do emerge with it. It's forward by Simons to Udogie to Simons, 18-yard line. Needs some support, forced backwards. Might come to Porro. Porro to the right-hand side. Odebear's cross, blocked behind corner.
These minutes are going to go slowly for these Newcastle players.
Voltemada and Byrne are, of course, doing their defensive duty. I mean, it's land of the giants in there, isn't it? Miley's a big boy. Joe Linton's a big boy. Thiaw is no small man, that's for sure. Tottenham would do really well to get first contact here. Porro delivers. They don't get first contact. Of course they don't, but it was Hall that got there first, only as far as Odebear. Now the cross comes in again, and of course it's Byrne that gets there first, and Livramento clears from right back into touch.
Defended generally pretty well from crosses, haven't they, Newcastle? Going to be a substitution now.
And it's Fabian Schär who will come on. Man, he's actually scored in the last 2 games against Tottenham, in the Premier League in April here and in the EPL game. Lewis Miley off.
I think they might go to a back 5 here, Newcastle.
Yeah, why not?
They have. I think they've gone to a back 5, yeah.
This is a big, big, big win for them if they can cling on. Porro. Odebear, midpoint of the Newcastle half, right-hand side. Bentancur playing as centre-half to his partner Danso. Taking his time. 3 of the 9 have gone. Porro. Odebear taking on Hall. Back it goes to Porro. Opens up the crossing opportunity. Crossing goes, Richarlison fighting for it. Romero fighting for it. Simons tries to bash it through 3 Newcastle players, and it bounces behind for the corner.
It's well defended in the end. Well, there's a little trip in there, you know, on Richarlison. But ball comes out to Xavi Simons, and you're thinking, just put your foot through it.
Well, Richarlison's trying to make the point to the referee.
Sure whether they're looking at that or not.
And he's saying it. Well, if that really was, if he has dived again, then you make the point until the VAR's had time to properly look.
Well, they're looking
you?
at it. I think they're looking at. funny looking at it now. You see there,
he's Thiaw with a pullback.
There's not enough in it for me.
Not given.
No.
Corner. Here comes Tell with the delivery. Ramsdale underneath it. Several players have ended up on the ground. Bicycle kick effort. Bundled through! Oh my word!
It's Romero.
It's absolutely ridiculous from Christian Romero, who scores a bicycle kick through a crowd of bodies, and he might just have earned Tottenham the most unlikely of points. 2 shots for Spurs, 2 shots for Romero, 2 on target, 2 goals, Newcastle 2, Tottenham 2. What on earth is going on?
The corner comes in and there's 2 or 3 bodies just fall to the floor at the back post. Ramsdale gets half a punch on it, and then I think Romero just goes for an overhead kick. He doesn't even catch it brilliantly. He sort of catches it off of his shin, and it bobbling through, and you think Thiaw's going to clear it, and he completely misses his kick, Thiaw. He just completely misses it. I mean, it's one of the worst overhead kicks you'll ever see. And it's
just
gone in.
Bobbled through from his shin. And somehow we're level again. Can Newcastle do it one more time, though? They're coming forward. The flick header on. Might find Baltimore. Romero is now back as a centre-half, and why not? Udogie's there. He's going to be fouled by Elanga. He is, yeah. Free kick Tottenham. Don't you love the Premier League? This is absolute insanity. And there won't be many better doubles. I know he didn't hit it cleanly, Romero. But I'll tell you what, he might have had a penalty if he hadn't done that. Because I think he's pushed down by Thiaw. But thank goodness they let it carry on.
Oh, thank goodness he's got good, strong shin pads on that made it go in.
Must have been made of elastic the way it came down off him. There's a ball forward. I might look for Richarlison. He's not going to get there ahead of the leaping Aaron Ramsdale. There's still 3 minutes, plus a bit more, you would have think, in the aftermath of the goal. Newcastle 2, Tottenham 2. They have it at the back in the centre circle, Newcastle. With Cher to Thiaw, Elanga, Livramento, Thiaw. A little Cruyff turn away from Tell. You're not supposed to do that as a centre-half. He's played it up towards Voltemada. Romero passed it to his left. I think it was a bit of fortune about that pass. And then it's walloped away by Tottenham. Burn will be there first. Clears over into the Tottenham half again. Romero underneath it. Heads away. Bounces a couple of times. Cher gives it to Bruno Guimaraes. Feels a long, long time ago that Bruno Guimaraes gave Newcastle the lead. It's actually only just over 20 minutes as Danso clears it to touch on the far side. Listen to the Newcastle roar. They still think there's one more twist.
It wouldn't surprise you, would it?
Guimaraes cross to the near side for Livramento. Elanga, can he get a cross in? Finds Livramento again over here. That's a goal kick. Couldn't keep it in. This would be a great result for Spurs given all that's gone recently.
Well, and I think particularly the way the game's gone. They've been behind twice and come back twice. And Thomas Frank will be really pleased with the resilience they've shown, the togetherness that they've shown.
You think about the drop points against Man United when they conceded in the 96th minute. This is almost as ridiculous in the other direction. 95th minute Romero equaliser. Don't worry, you don't have to wait long for more. We do it all again tomorrow in the Premier League. Away it goes by Vicario. Richarlison drops it down. Can Tell keep it in? No. Liverpool, Sunderland tomorrow. Arsenal, Brentford, Brighton, Villa, Burnley, Palace, Wolves, Forest and Leeds, Chelsea. And if that's not enough for you, we've got Man United, West Ham on Thursday. Is there a foul there on Romero? There is.
Not a foul, no.
Well, he's made it one. Was this performance good enough not to put pressure on Frank if they'd lost it? Has Romero kept his boss in a job?
I think he's not kept his boss in a job, but I think the 2 goals have papered over a lot of cracks tonight. I think a more clinical team, White, would absolutely score 3 or 4 goals tonight.
Danso's ball up towards Richarlison inside the area. Can he find a teammate? Somehow he can. It's Tell. We're now past the 9 minutes. Archie Gray has it. Udogie has it. Gray. Udogie wants it on the underlap. Instead it's come out to Javi Simons. Now Udogie will get it in the box. Udogie across. Share behind.
Well, it's
Tottenham's to win now.
Is Romero going to get a hat-trick? Is he going to come up for this corner? It's a throw-in, is it? I think it's a corner.
He's asking the referee.
Yeah,
it is a corner.
Is Romero going to get his hat-trick?
Hold onto your hats. Well, Vicario's saying, I want someone back.
Vicario's worried about someone on the edge of the box.
He wants to preserve the point. Well, he who dares wins. Here's the delivery. Ramsdale claims. Is there time? No, there's not. What a game. What a night. What an extraordinary story. Somehow, Newcastle have not won this game. Absolutely mad. Bruno Guimaraes opening the scoring on 71.